The papers, so.
Thank you. All right, Matt, good to go.
You want me to start it? Okay, I'll call the meeting of the Steele County Park Board to order. 30 October. Is there any agenda additions? The only thing I have on there is the storm shelters update on that.
Okay.
Any other additions? We'll move on. Everybody read the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Is there a second? I'll second. Motion to approve the minutes, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. First thing I've got is we want to clean out about 700 feet. When your feet of the drain from Luther Bearkeys Dam to the culvert that goes through the township road, and then from the new inlet gates that we put in back into Rush Lake. We've got a bid. We've talked to a bunch of guys. We need a long reach track hoe to do it. Well, nobody really in the area has got it. Chad Hansen has one, but he said, I'm so busy, Matt. He said, I'll never get there this fall. We've been waiting on Richard, but he hasn't gotten anything. But we got a young guy, Alex Christensen, been in business with track hoes and stuff since like 2012. He submitted a bid to us. It's right here. You guys want to take a look at it? Out of that there now. The association had a quick meeting and they said they'd throw $9,000 towards this bid of getting it done. And I think Justin was gonna talk to the gaming a little bit, see if they could kick in a little bit of money out of the gaming yet too. He's gotta go, this Alex has to go to Bismarck and get this track wood. It'll be ready by the end of the week. They said he can come get it. So. That's kind of where we're sitting, but the association did say they'd throw $9,000 towards that there. I don't know what your guys' feeling on it. It's something that's gonna, the rest of it's gonna need cleaning eventually too, so. Just to get us a start anyway.
So you're going from Luther Bearkeys down to
So
where?
that there's a culvert through the township road. He's gonna clean up to that. And then he's gonna go back to the gates, the new gates that we put in. And clean back up into the part of it, back up into Rush. Then if he's put down there 55 hours, then if he's got more time left, when if he's got that done in that time period, then he's gonna go back to that culvert and clean some of the other side of it. He had some hours left on it. He'll do that, so he said too. Them are our hangups right now. It's into the lake from Luther's. There's you can tell the water's not getting to that where it's like it's supposed to. There's a beaver dam in there, we noticed that's kind of. But everything just needs to be clean, hasn't been cleaned since it's been made, that system, so. And I know Justin was gonna talk to the gaming Russell to see if there's any money that they could put a little bit towards it too or not.
Hmm.
You got the form submitted or to submit it or what?
Yeah.
Like I said, the only other, like we talked to Nosteds, they didn't have a long reach. Chad Hansen did, but he said there's just no way he's gonna get to it. Justin talked to Wanzix, but they were like 350 or 350 an hour or something like that. So. And like I said, Richard was gonna go look at it, but he hasn't submitted anything yet, so.
So this is gonna be dug out and then leveled.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pick things spoiled up a little bit, instead of this new big pile. You have to level it out. But he's got a little cat here like that. So I think done what recently with the track, we run the cat or something.
So is there any landowners on this that we have to notify ahead of time, or would there be concerns? from them?
You probably have to talk to, we'll probably have to get some agreements there with them. About that. I'm not sure who, like Luther's up here, that's Johnson's farm, that stuff, around her. Well, Michaela Johnson lives in Luther's old place now, so. She's got horses in that pasture, it's basically pasture. But we'll probably have to make a few phone calls out, yeah.
I just think if we do it, we better get the permission from the landowners too, so we don't end up in a pickle or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Next thing, I don't know if you wanted storm shelter updates. I talked to Ben on them and he said they told him it was gonna be in October. He hasn't heard nothing from them, and they said if we don't hear nothing from us in October, it won't be till spring until they get them. Storm shelters in, because they're that far behind and stuff, so Ben's thinking it's not gonna be till spring until we get them put in. So I don't know, the gaming put money towards that, Russell, what happens with that? That just stay in there then till, or you use it for something else, or will it stay there till spring then, or what?
Yeah,
It will.
yep.
Okay.
I don't know if they've given you the check or not.
I don't know, I don't think so, I think we'll wait until a storm shelter showed up, I think, so.
Okay. Yeah, I can check with them and see, yeah.
The plan there is when we get them or do the dirt work, then
Well, that's good, we thought
kind of see where,
they'd give us a heads up so we can get a little groundwork done before they show up, instead of here they are, and you guys just from there.
select location and
Right.
where you guys want them.
Right, yeah. So.
Well, then I'll have to just.
Place, so you're like,
Figure that.
Ben was gonna call, but they didn't call this week. They didn't call this week, he was gonna call them, but he figures if they don't call this week, it's probably not gonna be till spring.
Good morning. Yeah, it's already the middle of October, just
Right.
about, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next, Jake had some guys come in and check the furnaces and air conditioners out there. I think the one furnace they condemned it, right, because of the heat exchangers cracked and was old and it's not very good shape. So Jake's been getting some quotes, I think he sent them to Emily.
Yep.
You got them all,
They were sent out, well,
just on the email parts of it,
right,
so. You know what exactly you're going to do?
I don't, just kind of once I receive them, just forward them on.
Yeah, I think. To replace
Here,
everything.
for West and Precision are what I have.
Okay. Precisions, to replace everything that needs to be done, all the furnaces. And the air conditionings and everything comes to $27,961. And I think that's using probably like a good. They quoted three ways. They quoted a better one, a good one, and a base one. So I don't know if that was the base then, on the 300. I bet it was. That was just the base models. Be a little bit more than that if you go up to the what is it, about $1,000 more in each one, not quite six. About 1,800 more if you go with a good one, so you're looking at 29,000. Per west bid was about the same, 27,538 to replace them. I got a bid from a guy for just replacing one furnace. That was the furnace and the coil was $7,950, but then you got to put the condenser on there, and he said he didn't get a price on the condenser yet. He said that's probably another $4,000 or $4,500. So you're looking at $11,500 to $12,000 for. That would get that one furnace up and going, so at least he's not gonna lose heat this winter. So that's where we're sitting on that. I think, well, the one furnace has to be replaced, otherwise we're not gonna have heat in that building probably.
Right now, we can't control the temp at all.
Yeah,
The furnace is running
constantly, yeah.
nonstop.
When things were put in, when that building was built 2002, so they're 20 years old now, that's like, especially in a commercial building like that. So we're gonna have to do something for a furnace for sure, like most of the guys said, the air conditioning parts, they can put them in the spring. We need to do something, get, a furnace, at least one in there that's working that'll work properly to heat that place.
What is the timeline on them from both of those guys?
Well, the quote I got. How soon can you get to it? And he kind of he chuckled a little bit, but I said, before the first of the year, he said, yeah, I guarantee you'd have it in before the first of the year, he said. But he's busy too doing. He's hooking Mayville Portland up with natural gas right now. So he's swamped over there right now. But sounds like I think he said this quote here was good for 30 days.
How about precision?
I don't know what kind of timeline they had on it.
I know talking to the kind of trainer for precision, it's like they're busy, so. He said they can do it, but it's, it has to, architects mentioned. The earlier the better for we're bringing it for this. A long time. I think what Verwest did is what they could get immediately. And I think Brandon was the same thing, but they both were kind of like. I don't think it'll be next week or anything. It would be 4 to 6 weeks, I would say would be probably the earliest I would think anyone could do it.
Right.
So if we just do the furnace from Verwest, then precision is what? But you had the quote there from both
Yeah,
of
so
them.
they don't have.
Both of them were
They don't have.
for
it
air
broken.
conditioners too, right?
Yeah, they got all three of them. I mean, they don't have it broken down. Well, let's see here. Precision's one would be. The one base one is 9632, 9867. I'm sure that 9867 is probably, it doesn't tell which room it's for, I don't think. That one says west side, east side.
In the, right now, the one that's not working is the second area. For furnace.
Sweet kitchen. The east side, that'd be the west side would be the dining room area, that'd be like 9867.
Yeah, east side would be the like ice cream station, front bathrooms, that kind of area, that's all separated. The kitchen has its own unit, that main dining area has its own unit. Precision also talked about putting in larger ducting for what is in the basement. Everybody said that what we have for air conditioning units should definitely cool the building pieces, but it's the ducting that's in the water.
Okay.
So which one was that again?
Dining area furnace. To be honest, all three are right there, so. Air conditioners this summer, we've had. I think 3 people come out to replace the capacitors in them, and then they work for a week and then they're breaking down. Everything's kind of getting to end of life.
Starting to wear out.
Bid for to replace everything, just so we kind of know what the cost is, the total cost is to replace them. Hopefully things last, but everything is really getting to that point too.
We had one from Troy up or not, we had one quote from him.
Troy submitted the quote, and I want to say he was around 22,000 total. So around $11,000 per unit. Or this Troy is the one who came and worked on the furnace last time. And did because it wasn't working properly.
That's Troy Myron, right?
Yeah,
We talked to,
That's for the furnace and air conditioners, 22 grand.
yes. Yeah, that'd be for
all three though.
that would be for two, he
Okay.
said. Troy would look at it and said the 2 really need to be replaced. And those would be the 2 that are storage room. There's a third furnace that's in the basement or the crawl space that's in the middle of the.
So it's something it's just something that's gonna have to get done here, and it's. We talked to Curtis a little bit too, but he didn't even, I don't even think he wanted to get a quote because he's so busy, so I got so much stuff to do that he just.
So this 27K encompasses
Three
three
furnaces.
furnaces, air conditioning.
Yeah.
All separate, and the reason why they probably had three in there, so you could control different
Yeah.
portions of the store at,
Yep. I mean, and it's something we're gonna have to at least get one of the furnaces put in here. To make this work. Like you said, he doesn't have no control of the heat training right now, so.
Well, if he's gonna be open this fall and winter, I guess we'd have to.
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's so you got some private parties coming up. I mean. Yeah, but the worst thing we don't know, we can't cool it right now either, but it's been. Good problem to have, I guess, in September that the building is warm. It's been nice out, so. But spring comes fast, so it gets hot fast and. I don't know. We've had to shut down multiple days over the last couple of years because we can't cool the place in the short summer season, losing $2,000-3,000 in sales 3 times a summer. It adds up really quick, so. On top of just the extra heating costs, the cooling costs, because nothing is changing right now, it's just running constant.
but, you want Jake to see availability, talk to the Precision and Russ to see the availability, if they get it put in, or what are you guys thinking? What do you think, Richard?
well, I think it needs to be done. Now it's October. I think around this next month, gonna be in November. Wait another, whatever to order it. But unfortunately, we gotta bite the bullet to put them all in. I do know though, the guys have told me every time they're there, the filters are just completely dirty. We need to take and change them more often.
Right now, we're changing filters twice a week. Or every 2 weeks and. The basement, everything, that's the filters, it's constant.
What's this basement?
The basement furnace, you wanna say controls the. Storage shed. Yeah, good, and I think, for example, too, is for the filters. The last guy that came on and changed filters out, got no filters out in the basement. I go over, there is no filter.
Yeah, no, it's been a problem forever. I'm not saying it's you, it's just been a problem forever. I think we need to decide which estimate we want to go with and just go with it. That's my 2 cents.
That's what I said, maybe Jake's gotta get hold of these guys, see availability and see what.
The price wise are,
Price wise are within, unless you jump up to the Precision's good. I don't know the difference between Burwest quote, for actual furnaces. The Scott says. Mark said the one is an 80,000 BTU, a 80,000 BTUs. And a 60,000 BTU. But Precision's doesn't say what they are.
or maybe what we should do then is, if we approve this. Couple, 2, 3 guys should visit with the 2 estimates that we got, see which one's the better one after we talk to them and see which one to go with, and just get a plan, figure out so we can order.
Yeah.
That way we're not getting around here.
We're gonna need to get,
It's gotta be done.
we gotta get heat in that place no matter what, so.
Is there a motion to?
I'll make a
We got to
motion.
go ahead with this and.
I'll make a motion to approve that one of the estimates, whatever the little committee figures out, the rest will have to go on.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion to approve this, go ahead and make a little committee to decide on a furnace and air conditioning, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Let's see, Jake, what do you got, any updates?
Updates, got to check through my propane or utilities or anything like that balance. taking out the storm shelters, or not storm shelters, the two. Two shelters that are basically falling down, we're gonna take those out, get those hauled over there. I'd like to. Get the beach kind of back road, and the water down quite a bit, just to kind of fill in the beach. But, I want to see what funds are available before we started. This is the most pressing thing, the premises stuff, so. It was not too much over. Then. Food brewers have been working great. All around, lots of little fixes and projects were on there. Got deck boards to replace on the patio. I guess a lot of maintenance. It's up there. So,
We'll try, I'll try to get, I got it one, but that last.
oh, okay. But yeah, otherwise, just
How's anything else holding a lot having in my brain, but
don't have, just maintenance, I guess, we got lots of, tightening things and replacing a few, door filters. Some of the aliens on the patio. It's been just sweeping. Otherwise. For landscaping for like, and then garbage trucks there, I gotta get their bus still in from one day. Garbage truck. One maintenance truck, nothing real pressing.
I guess we can go back to, no, Richard's here. Did you ever get a chance to go look at cleaning out up there?
no, I have not.
Okay, so we got a quote, guy who wants to know by, he's got to know by the end of the week, 'cause he's got to go get the track over, so. I don't know, we wanna, what you wanna do on that, or leave a motion for that part of it, or what? What's your long reach run? What does it mean per hour?
Around 275 to 3 quarters, depending on. If you got a bid from them, just take it.
That's cool, yeah, we got that. What do you guys want, is there a motion on that to approve it, to have him go ahead and get that and do it, or?
How far is he going?
He's gonna go from Luther's, it's 3,700, a little over 3,700 feet. It's going from Luther's going down to the township road. And then from there, we're gonna go from the inlet gates back into the rock. And if he's got some time left, then he's gonna go back up to that culvert and clean partway over there. He's got 55 hours worth to give him. So on the cleaning of the drain system, is there a motion on that to approve it, or what are you guys thinking on that?
What's our share on that again?
All of it.
What's our share on that again?
What does it bid on?
9,000, right, it's the association.
9,000, yeah, 9,000 to the association.
So half of it,
Half of it, and they're gonna see if we can get some money out of the gaming,
so 9,000 and about 27 for the furnaces.
you know.
Well, this is 17.
17,900 off there would be something about 8, yeah. I think Justin was hoping the game, maybe throw 5 towards it or something. I don't know if they'd be able to or not.
I'll make that motion. We take that bid, clean it out.
Okay, is there a second?
So moved.
Motion to approve the cleaning of the drain system, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
make sure you guys get in contact with the landlord.
Motion carried, yes, yeah. Don't tell I like that, I think so. Okay. Anything else, Jake? You guys got anything? Sorry, okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make motion.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I can't hear it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good day.
Bounces a little bit, right? No, yes.
We're up and ready to go. Ready to go.
Yes.
It's 9 o'clock on October 10th, and we'll call the Steele County Courthouse Commissioners meeting in session. Is there any agenda additions?
I got one,
Okay,
gonna have Ben, he's got some blood.
We also do have building permit from Amy that was submitted. I have now for you minimum sale prices for the tax sale to be approved. And not sure, Charlie, do you have anything for meal reimbursement for the conference or no?
I haven't looked at that policy.
Okay, because we have another bill submitted also for that, so.
then we got also buildings and grounds on there. Stuff. And also we should have Reed on there as far as the state highway department too. Is he gonna be here or not? I was just wondering about the generator to get that up and wired and what the timeline on that is.
Not sure. He's coming today or not.
Are you adding anything to the agenda, Charlie?
Well, we should add, Jen. Wait. Since you guys don't know.
Will she be here?
Any other agenda additions? Need approval of the minutes then, move on to that. Everybody read and approved them? And I need a motion and a second on them.
So moved.
Got a motion, a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Those miscellaneous department updates and handouts, you've got some of them already
Yep, those were in the file.
and stuff, so any other updates, anything from the commission? We will move on then to Megan with the extension from the county agent.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
In your guys' packets this month is my quarterly narrative. So if you have any questions, let me know. There's some other things I wanted to bring up. So Palmer Amaranth was a second field was found in Trail County and 5 miles of Steele County. Visited last Wednesday and it's a very ugly weed. But just wanting to make sure all the farmers know, be on the lookout that it's nearby and we don't want it in Steele County.
Yeah.
The FCW agent posting is up, the shared position between Steele and Nelson. So that will stay open. I forgot to see when the closing date is, but they wanted to get that posting up. But it is contingent upon Nelson County's mill levy for their extension office. So it's up, but it's not confirmed, you know, when interviews will take place. But wanting to get that posted up. The legislative update is for District 29 is October 28th. If you hopefully have received an email about that Zoom meeting. I believe minutes will be taken. Does anybody have intentions of attending via Zoom?
Maybe.
Okay,
What time was that, Megan? October 28th at
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
And I want to back up. So Brandon, for the FCW agent, Leslie had you as on the interview committee. Did you still want to be on that one? Okay. That's it. Things I wanted to bring up.
On that Palmer weed, what are they doing for it?
So I didn't get, I think the farmer was just gonna go and harvest the field, which hand pulling should be done. It's a soybean field and their intentions are just planting corn next year and using pre-emergence and spraying, because with corn, you have a little bit more herbicide options. So hopefully just taking care of the seeds that get germinated next.
Is it a big area then, or?
Yeah, it's not the smallest area. There are tree or shelter belts, so we hope that kind of gives some help in the seed preventing from being blown, or scattered. But then, yeah, it's watching the shelter belts to see how many weeds germinate, and then can the farmers spray in the shelter belts.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But the stalks or the stems, that huge.
Hmm.
And there's water hemp out there too, so it's really hard to determine between like a male water hemp and a male Palmer amaranth, because both of those plants are dioecious, meaning there's a male plant and a female plant. So you can have your brain trained saying this is a female water hemp, and then sometimes the petioles not long, like they say on a Palmer amaranth, the petioles long, or the leaf shape is supposed to be long and narrow in a water hemp. Then you can find a Palmer plant that has a long and narrow leaf. So it's just, it's frustrating, but because the male and the female plant are separate, that just adds the genetic diversity of the seeds that grow the next generation. So I just encourage any farmer who's suspicious of a seed, please call. I'll probably reach out to the Dix County agent, Jeff Stockler, because he is a weed scientist, just to be a positive confirmation, like this is or this is not. But Jeff has a overwhelming background in that, or his knowledge of pigweed species is very broad, and he's a good resource.
Good.
I'm learning from him.
It's good.
Anybody else have anything for Megan? Is there a link on that where we can go on to our District 29 meeting?
Yes, I will find that for you guys.
Okay,
If you haven't, hopefully you received an email, but I'll check with Tracy in Nelson County, because I think she had taken on like the hosting role, but I will get that link to you guys.
okay, good. Thank you.
All right.
Nothing else for Megan then? Okay,
Have a good
thanks,
day.
Megan.
Yep, thanks, Megan.
Okay, Charlie, you're up.
Morning.
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 All right, well, we have quite a few things to go through. Not sure where you guys want to start. Sent a memo out on Don Husso's inquiry. You guys should have all gotten that. And I sent a little memo type document out on Jana Flayton's request or inquiry about election inspector. And then we have the VSO position to deal with, where that's at. So where do you guys want to start?
Let's start with the VSO.
Okay.
That fine?
Yep.
Okay, let's start with that.
So I believe I sent out to you, all of you, Dennis's resignation effective September, end of September. So we're looking for a new VSO again. I sent an email to, last time we had one other applicant. And I sent an email to that applicant to see whether that applicant was interested again. I have not received a response back. So I assume we go ahead and advertise again.
Okay. Is there a possibility, excuse me, on that, Charlie, that if we do not get any people to apply for that job, is there a chance that we can go in with Trail County?
I don't know. You can ask Joe County.
You know, that'd be one option I was thinking of. You know, if we don't have nobody follow up, you know, it's just a,
Well, and last on that point, Russell, as you know, because you were involved, we only had two applicants. One was
Right.
Dennis, and one was the applicant that I've reached out to and haven't heard back.
yeah.
So do we run the ad and we can talk with Trail to see if that's an option for them. So we have both possibilities available.
Right, yep.
I will check with them. Trail. I don't know whether that's whether it's considered a full-time position where the Trail VSO wouldn't have time.
Well, the main thing, I've talked to Myron, I reached out to Dennis, and Dennis was busy at the time, he didn't have time to talk and stuff, and I haven't got back to him yet, but according to Myron, he doesn't want anything to do with the paperwork and all this stuff. He'll still do the driver part and the scheduling of the rides and everything else, but he wants nothing to do with the paperwork. Myron, yep. So that is where we are there, and Myron said he would stick it out, help out the girls here. Carly with that stuff till we get somebody else hired and stuff, so we got that part covered as far as the rides and stuff, so.
Right, and on that point, there are monthly reports that have to be sent in. It's not an easy job to gather all that information and get it in a form that's acceptable to the veteran services in Fargo. And it's a lot more work than meets the eye, it really is. And we need to get last month's in this week sometime, so I'm gonna have to reach out with Myron and reach out to Myron and then get that information in. I'll probably have to work with Carly and Emily's office to get that paperwork and correct it. We know what's supposed to be submitted. We just need to make sure we have all the data and how it's supposed to be submitted. It's a big process. It's called, for those of you who don't know, we're considered a highly rural area. And so we get reimbursement, but all the confirmation paperwork and information has to be sent in monthly to get that reimbursement. And it's a lot of information, and we do dozens of veteran travel every week, and that includes Griggs County veterans as well. Yeah. So that's one thing that we're gonna have to consider when we do hire, whatever we do with the VSO position, is that the person who takes over needs to know that that's some tedious work that has to be done and filed in a timely fashion.
Right, yeah.
So
I would recommend maybe appointing Carly as interim to handle that paperwork to Fargo Veteran Services in the meantime. So a new VSO is hired and can be trained in on it. It's important that we get that paperwork done and done properly to get our reimbursement from that grant. I talked to Myron last week. You were here Russell, I
Mm,
think at
yeah.
the time when he stopped in, he did believe that that paperwork got submitted by the deadline.
It did. I talked to
So-
Dennis that there was a fiscal year end, hard year end, September
14th. wasn't it?
14th. And I talked to Dennis and they did meet that deadline. So now we're just back to the monthly deadlines now.
Mhm.
So. And. Yeah, whatever you guys want to do, something's got to be done, and whoever is interim or Myron should be, we talked about this, we had a meeting, should be authorized to sign off on the P card verification. That was an issue between Dennis. When I say issue, I'm not saying there was any contentiousness. I'm saying they just a timing thing where Myron wasn't authorized to sign off on the P card verification. Kind of caused some delays too. So whatever you do, if you hire into or appoint someone interim, and Myron continues to do the travel aspects of things, they should, both those people should be authorized to sign off on P card verification. So we don't have that issue holding us up. And we got paperwork due this week, so somebody's got to do it. I think Myron can bring in the raw data, but it's a matter of accumulating that and summarizing it all together, getting it to the VSO, and then the VSO person who's in charge of these highly rural grant things reached out to me via email, and having heard that Dennis resigned, and said that they are available to assist in the interim as well with questions, or if we don't have the right information or aren't sure what information, all that kind of stuff. So we have those resources available.
Yeah, right.
So number one, we're gonna advertise and then check with Trail. Is that what you guys want to do?
Yep,
Okay, and then number two is allow Myron to continue to be kind of the assistant and run the travel part of it. And then you gotta decide whether you want to hire Carly or whoever as interim VSO.
right.
Oh, and I should say that Dennis told me that he is willing to continue to provide services to the veterans that need it. He still has our computer, he's still processing claims and things like that, and he's willing to keep doing that part of it. Basically for free until we get somebody in.
Yeah, that's what he had told me too.
So that's good. So the interim VSO would basically just be more of a paperwork numbers person.
Correct.
But
Yep.
the sooner the better we get a new VSO, obviously, because we can't expect Dennis to continue to, just do that for us.
Right, yep. So as the board feel on Emily's recommendation? Pretty quiet.
Does anyone else have a recommendation? It's got to get done, so someone's got to be appointed to it.
And the other thing would be what we did last time, and that was we appointed Myron interim VSO. But on that note, and as we mentioned, Myron isn't heavy on the paperwork side of things, so he still needs significant assistance. And I think that would best come from the auditor's office. So I suppose you could don't know where you guys are at, what you want to do, but if you're gonna appoint a VSO, you appoint Myron as interim or Carly as interim. And you appoint the other one as assistant. Because they're both gonna have to continue to do. work. Make sense?
Yeah, they've both been doing it, so. That was the reason I just thought it'd make sense to appoint her. She's been working with Myron, trying to get it together.
I think that she needs to be involved. For two reasons. One, it's needed. And two, she has been involved the last several months with regard to the actual paperwork that gets sent in, and it's taking some time out of her schedule to do that. So I think maybe it would help, but I'm not saying she needs motivation, but knowing that she's gonna have some sort of, small amount of compensation increase because she's doing that additional work that she wasn't doing before would go a long way and help in that process. You think so, Emily?
Well, it's just a difficult situation because we know Myron doesn't want to be in charge of that. And he doesn't use computers. He doesn't have the email to do it all. He's not. So,
He doesn't even text.
I mean, you need somebody that's able to do that to get the paperwork to Fargo.
What do we budget for? What do we pay the VSO officer?
Roughly 900 a month.
And then one person gets a 10% administration fee for the
Grant.
So I don't know, so that adds in $300, $400, $500 a month. Can vary.
Depending on, yes.
So my recommendation then would be. Appoint Myron interim VSO, appoint Carly assistant VSO. Split the monthly pay between the two of them equally, that 900, and then the 10% continue to go to Myron for organizing all the travel. That's the way to do it in the interim.
I agree.
If that makes sense to you guys. Because Carly is doing a lot more work than she was before.
We will need that in the motion. Right, Emily?
Yes.
You guys want to discuss that anymore? I'm ready to make a motion.
I'm just looking for a way to
I'll make a motion.
move things all forward.
We gotta have it, but we can't lose that program.
No,
It serves the veterans a lot. They rely on that a lot.
Well, between Griggs and Steele. Big time. You don't know how much it's being used. Myron leaves some days here at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Did you make that a motion? I'll second that.
we got a motion and a second on Charlie's recommendation here on the VSO. And Carly's the interim assistant. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay. You wanna continue, Charlie?
Sure can. So why don't we go to the Don Huso letter to commission / Brandon. I prepared a response. And the numbers are what they are. I outlined them. There were. If the public wants that, I assume you guys don't care if they have it. I don't know if they want it or not, but you guys all see that?
Yeah,
And so the numbers are what they are, but the percentage increase appears to be what Don has indicated. But one thing is, they pointed out in my memo is that 120% of that came within the first 2 years, in 15 and 17. And the balance of the increases have basically just been the percentage raises you guys have given over the last several years, and then maybe there's one more longevity pay in there. I don't know. But I don't know if there's anything else we really need to do. I indicated in that memo that whether you guys, whether the people that he asked for an apology from, whether you guys want to give one or not, that's up to you. Do you think that that's a personal?
I didn't call him a liar,
I just think that's between you guys. I
But
don't see that as being a commission issue.
but according to what he said, this is actually what she made all the years. You can have that.
The difference comes
This is
from
what caused all the problems.
a budgeted wage for the auditor and what I came in as auditor as being paid.
Right, it's pretty simple. So the budget amount going into 2015 was $24,000. April 7th, 2015, Emily's first commission meeting, it was increased to whatever that 40,000 and some change. And the next meeting it was increased to whatever it was, 45,000 some. And then the rest of them are the increases that are reflected. So it is what it is. This wasn't even the commission that did that. So,
True. It was all, Ted was the only one on the board at that time.
And the reason they did that is they brought it up to what she'd been working in that office with Linda anyway.
right, I think it was increased to what Emily made before her termination. Was tax credit. But I mean, it's not, I don't know. The numbers are there, what people want to think about them, they can think about them. And you know, is what it is.
A
We
similar.
can't go back and hit rewind and change it.
Similar point that I feel is relevant too is the year prior when they did hire the previous auditor, they hired her in at 50,000, which was more than the budget amount that year as well. It's not uncommon for that to happen, 50,000, and then it was cut to 24,000 for the budget and raised back up to 40. Still below what the previous auditor was making.
Do we have any idea why it was cut to 24,000?
Yeah,
The previous auditor did that budget and the previous commission approved it.
well, there's more than that. I don't know how much you guys want to get into it, but there was discussion with the then commission about whether Steele County should look at going to a county administrator position that would handle HR, payroll, all those sorts of things, and have that not be in the auditor's agenda of things to do. And there was also discussion about, can they decrease the salary of an elected position? And the answer to that was yes, but you can't decrease the salary during that elected official's tenure, which is 4 years. So, and that was an election year, and I don't know, Emily ran, did anybody run against you? I don't even know.
Alicia,
So, not knowing what was gonna happen, that the then commission asked me those two questions. Can we go to a county administrator position and limit the budget of the auditor's office, not knowing what was gonna happen with the auditor's office because of the election? And can we decrease the salary? So the answer to the first question was yes, we could have went with the county administrator to handle HR and salary, payroll, those kinds of things. So it'd be taken out of the HR or the auditor's office, it wouldn't be nearly as much for the auditor's office to do. Or can you decrease the salary? And they said, yes, but you can't decrease it during that person's term, but the next term you can. So they, in October of 14, that then commission reduced it to 24,000 for the next term. Which would have been the term that Emily was elected. That's what happened. Because there was internal turmoil within the auditor's office in the years 2013 and 2014. I was here for it. I was involved with that. So, does that answer your question, Brian?
Yeah, so were they expecting to hire a auditor for half of the work and hire a human resources too? Or what was the,
The auditor was an elected position, so they knew they were gonna have an auditor, an elected auditor.
was that auditor elected position posted at 24,000?
It. Here, the timing of it would have been that. Once people, at the time that people wanted to submit their certifications to be put on the ballot for auditor. The budget hadn't been set.
It'd have been after that then, yeah.
So then by the time the primary had happened. Then you guys were in budget, that then commission was in budget mode. That's when that budget was started to be discussed. And then on October 7th, I believe, 2014 is when they set the 24,000. Before they knew for sure who was going to be elected. But going into that election period. And they had not made, that then commission had not made the decision yet about whether they were gonna hire a county administrator. But left open that option.
So I have a question. Worst case scenario, Emily doesn't win. What do we start the new person at with no experience?
Well, you have the budget that you have to deal with. That was part of the issue when it was. When that budget was set in 2014. Not knowing how. Whoever got elected. had audits.
Was it considered full-time at that time? The auditor?
I don't know.
I don't remember
It's
either.
an elected position, so technically an elected position has to be present.
Yeah.
Roughly half the time.
Yeah. So that's, I just can't wrap my head around the 24,000. Who would run for a position in 2014 for $24,000? You know,
Keep in mind when they put in their certifications.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
they didn't know that, right? So,
Was there a breakout somewhere what all your wages paid?
No, it's, right now it's currently paid under the auditor's budget. Previous years back then, back in 13 when Linda was here and such, there was breakouts. There was a clerk amount under the county commission for clerk pay for doing just this in the meetings. There was breakouts in other parts of the budget for additional pay as well as the auditor salary and the auditors.
I think there was a breakout to previously. Since you've been elected too, there was some years there was. A line item somewhere, maybe miscellaneous for like risk management, and there was one for.
No,
There was one for superintendent of schools.
that was proposed one year. It was not approved. There's never been additional pay in a different part of the budget for the auditor since I've taken office.
So anyway, that's kind of the history. And the history of the salary increases are what they are, as I indicated, we probably have to look at that longevity pay thing to see if we want to reword that or how that should be applied. But the numbers are what they are.
well, I wasn't here for the
September of 2014.
budgeting part of it, but I was there for the salary increase. And I remember being a little disappointed that it was at 46 instead of the 50 because of the experience that she had. Because we were getting an auditor with auditor experience.
Those are minutes.
Oh, there's a copy for it.
That's because September 14 is meeting minutes or kind of what I was suggesting. Or was advising had happened. When they reference the human resource administrator, that's what they're talking about, the administrator there.
So at the time then, this September 30th of 2014, that was wrote up by Linda Ledbetter.
No, in 2014 September, I believe Tasha Kruger was the interim auditor
Okay.
that wrote those minutes. She didn't.
Okay. I was just checking to make sure that.
So. This is the time that all this was being discussed. And because of what had transpired in the auditor's office. In the year or two prior to that, there was concern about how and whether HR was going to be handled out of the auditor's office. And there was concern it wasn't going to work well. And
It didn't.
And then if we'd had our meetings recorded, the April 7 meeting, 2015. That then commission did address Emily directly about whether they can count on her to handle the HR duties properly and deal with people properly. That was basically what the gist of it was. And Emily gave her a response, and the commission acted according to how we wanted to.
Yeah, it was like a 6-month. Not probation period, but let's see how things go period.
I don't know if it was 6 months, because I do know the salary was increased again the next month.
That also might have been additional duties too.
The minutes.
Yeah, there's
say
minutes
something
for all that.
The minutes say that duties were discussed. I think I quoted that in my memo.
At the time, myself, Pam Amundson and Tasha Kruger all came in, went over the duties of the office and everyone's pay. And then they made a motion to increase it that next month.
So anyway, I spent several hours going through all this stuff and looking at minutes, meeting with members of the auditor's office. Is what it is. I say we move on from it. And I did, so that the commission's aware, I did send Mr. Husso, Don, a copy of my memo. I don't know if the paper received it or not. So I've shared it. I did not hear back from Don. Not saying he doesn't have some input. I'm saying I personally haven't heard back from him at all. So he knows exactly what the memo says. And just to address his, when he presented here in August, I explained this to him via email that Emily was involved in. That, well, these are public meetings, commissioner meetings are. That doesn't mean that constituents automatically have a right to present at them orally and give a statement. But it can be allowed, and we did allow him to do that. Obviously, he didn't appreciate in his own mind how he was treated, but that's really not anything that the overall commission needs to address.
Any other discussion, or are we gonna move on?
I think that
this is available. If people want to come in and make their own kind of decision on it, it's there, so. All the information that's there. Look at it, we got other things we need to. move on from. Thank you, Charlie.
No fun, but it is what it is. It is time to move on from that, and you know, the public can take it for what it is or what it isn't, and everybody's made their points.
Well, according to these minutes of September 30th of 2014, it kind of says right in there that the budget was for the auditor's duties only. Nothing with the other duties, with their salaries were redistributed to other department heads. So I'm sure that's why the 24,000 was in there, was for that, and I'm taking it was $2,000 a month times 12, so that would come up to $24,000.
24,000 is the lowest percentage.
It can be a little lower,
Oh,
a little bit.
But it's like,
Oh.
that's what it's multi-months essentially.
oh, okay,
Can't
So
go-
that-
you can't go down too far.
oh, okay,
And that's what the interim auditor at the time received for wages.
okay. So let's move on then. If everybody's done with it,
Let's see, when you guys, when you guys, voted for Myron. Interim and Carly assistant, did you include authorization for both of them to sign P cards if necessary? Is that part of your vote? Yes.
yes,
So then let's just, we added to the agenda at the beginning of the meeting for those who may not have joined. Early on, the Miss Flayton, who was running for auditor, sent an email out to the commissioners late last week. Commissioner Strand forwarded that to me, which I appreciated fairly early after getting it, because I had some. It was still Friday afternoon, and I could still do some research on it. So I did. Miss Flayton then also forwarded it to her email to me as well. After Mr. Strand had. And so I researched it and I sent you guys, oh, I think I sent it out yesterday. Should have sent it Friday, but I thought I had, and then I checked my email, I realized I hadn't. So the memo I gave you outlines the what's required for election officials for each county, precinct, etc. And I'm assuming, Emily, maybe you can help me out on this, but Carly was the election inspector for the June primary, right?
Correct, as well as both elections in 2020.
So and then the statute talks about having those people appointed within 40 days of the.
Correct.
Previously, has Carly been appointed again for?
I appointed her, yes. It does need commission to approve, but seeing she was approved for the past 3 election cycles. I did not question why she would be approved. Century Code does state the county auditor, with the approval of the commission, shall appoint the election inspectors.
Right. Yeah, I'm just wondering where we're at.
Yep,
So we can-
election inspectors is to be made on a basis of inspectors' knowledge of the election procedure. And they serve as the polling place supervisor. I don't think there's a question on Carly's knowledge of the election process or any of the new election equipment. She does not touch or handle any ballots. And I think that if people were educated on the election process itself, they would be aware of that. She doesn't deal with the ballots. Those are the two appointed parties by the political parties that appoint the judges, one from the Republican Party and one from the Democratic Party. They handle all ballots. Just an interesting point I'd like to make on my part. I know how difficult it is to find people to volunteer and work these elections. It's very difficult. We don't have an overabundance of people volunteering to do these positions. One of the parties that were selected to be a judge for the election, their last name is Slayton. I did not object to that because I appreciate people stepping up and taking the time and the dedication to serve on our election boards. That could be an issue that I would have presented. Same last name as somebody running for the office, but I don't have any question on the integrity of the election.
So anyway, back to the Ms. Clayton's email and my memo, and Emily, you mentioned it was, I thought I had quoted that portion where it's 40 days prior to the election that it needs to be approved, right?
Correct, appointed
Appointed, and the commission has to approve it,
with their approval.
right? So do we have 40 days?
At this time, no. I appointed her.
But the commission has to approve it. I don't have that statute, that's, I'm almost, thought I quoted it, but I believe it said it has to be, that has to be done within 40 days.
The auditor shall appoint election inspector.
But it has to be approved by the commission. Right?
With their approval.
So I don't know what you guys want to do there, but the other thing that I think addresses or could help Ms. Flayton is that because in her email, she asked that a second election investigator be appointed. I don't think we have that option by statute.
The auditor does. The auditor may appoint part-time, additional part-time inspectors, judges or clerks to allow for sufficient coverage of the polling site. Do we need to do that? Do we need to provide or have more expense for our election?
And what that's alluding to is, when it says sufficient, it means enough bodies to do the election. I don't think we necessarily need more people to do it.
Correct.
And I could be wrong, but her, I think, request is more so transparency and observing and watching, and the North Dakota Central Code 16.10509 election observers that I quoted for you guys gives her that option. So I wasn't sure how this was gonna get handled today, but what I could do, and I sent the same information to Ms. Flayton Friday and yesterday as well, so she had it. What I could do is reach out to her. You know, you guys have more to do, and I can reach out to her and see if this election observer meets her, what she would like to be able to do as far as having someone oversee what's going on. And if it is, then we were done dealing with this issue.
But then we gotta find a person to do that.
No, she can.
Any member of the public
Yep,
can
she
observe
could have-
any part of the election process.
She could, doesn't have to be selected by the commission or picked by the commission. She can have her own person here. I can reach out to her and see if,
But back in, before the primary, you know, Carly was already appointed inspector then, right?
for the primary election,
Yep. So does that count for the primary plus the general?
probably not, but I think if Emily appointed Carly prior to 40 days before the election, and we only have a meeting here once a month,
And it's been delayed 2 times
so,
this month.
I think that. I'll look at that statute quick again, and I come back down. But if you guys want me to reach out to her, then I can be done here and go reach out to her and see if this election observer option covers her concerns. And I'll look at that statute quick to give you my interpretation of that. And we can move on from this one too.
On Friday afternoon, I was up here and stuff, and Emily and I were visiting on this topic. And we reached out to, what was his name, Emily?
Brian Nybach in the Secretary of State's office.
In Bismarck, and he had already left for the day then. And I don't think he's reached back to you since.
I haven't checked my voicemail.
Oh, okay, so we reached out to him to see, what he was gonna tell us to do about this issue and stuff, so.
Well, and on that note, there is a qualifications section, which I quoted for you guys, and the exclusions are specific. And
Correct.
they wouldn't necessarily exclude Carly as an employee of the auditor's office from being the election inspector.
Correct.
That's there, no question about that. So that's not, the next question is whether we want to do something. Regardless, was Carly paid her hourly rate as the assistant auditor when she worked as the inspector, or was she paid out of election?
Yeah, correct.
Which one?
Election.
So,
Everybody gets paid from election, the judges, the clerks, everybody gets paid from the election fund.
so that day she wouldn't have been working as a Steele County auditor.
Correct. On the
Assistant
Steele
auditor,
County
right? She wouldn't have been working as an assistant auditor, she would have been
as the inspector,
paid out of election funds, not county salary funds.
correct.
So I'll go look at those. Should I go call Ms. Flayton to see if this addresses her concern and look at that statute one more time, see what we should do there?
Whatever the rest of the board
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I'll do that. I don't think I have anything. Oh, is there do you want to address that policy manual change that we were talking about?
Yes,
So did you pass that around?
it was in their packets, yes.
Did you guys see that policy manual change about
Benefits,
extracurricular benefits, so to speak, that we offer our employees? The option of, Colonial Life or Aflac, or is there another one too? And
New York Live,
basically we then pay for their policies out of our payroll and so on. And we need to have a policy in place that limits, it kind of controls the amount of time that's open for enrollment so that we don't have a lot of turnover, because that just causes a lot of work for everybody. And so I talked with Emily in her office about that and asked Emily to draft up a policy that she thought would be applicable. And as I see it, it's basically saying that those policies are those types of insurance and benefits, although not our direct benefits, but we administer for them by paying them out of their payroll, that they should basically coincide with open enrollment. Right, is basically what we're saying.
correct.
The only change or issue, I think, on the one that Emily came up with, and I didn't have a chance to talk to her about it before I addressed you guys today, is that I think they probably have to be allowed to cancel a policy outside of the open enrollment, because they potentially could run into, monetary problems with their family or that kind of thing, where they need to reduce that as a monthly debt to them. But other than that, I think it's fine. That makes sense. Or they can cancel, but not flipping to a different company, not enrolling, mid-year, that kind of thing. They gotta make those choices when it's open enrollment, and then you stick with it. The only thing they'd be allowed to do would be to cancel. Makes sense?
yep,
So we would need a motion to,
I'd say motion to approve that policy sans the cancellation records, meaning they can cancel it. And we can revert it to say that.
The reason this came about is we've had several that canceled one, went to another. Canceled the other, went back to the first. Canceled the first, went back to the second again, all within a 2-month span, and it's. Like he said, just a headache for optional benefits and messy for payroll purposes and.
Well, part of the reason this is coming up now is because we offer more products to them. And so we have these competing agents that are coming in and giving sales pitches, and they hear about, oh, somebody wants to cancel now because they can get it better from Aflac versus Colonial. Then the Aflac will call, and say, oh, but I can do that for you too. So that's what we have going on. And it's a result of providing them more products. Nature of the business, but
Double-edged sword, you provide more, but
then
it,
the agents want to continue to, they'll keep working their customers, which are employees, which it's the capitalistic economy, but it's resulting in this. So we just need to, and this will call the agents off a little bit too. Okay, if they know, hey, we're not, they can't switch policies in the middle of the year, then we don't have to worry about that either. So it's kind of a broad reaching change.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion on the floor. We need a second. Got a motion and a second on the floor on the benefit package and stuff. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay. Was there anything else, Emily, on the agenda other than what I'm gonna go look at? I don't see anything else.
I don't believe so.
Okay, I'll be back.
Can we do a 5-minute quick recess before we start?
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks. We will take a 5-minute recess right here at 9:56.
Charlie, there will be at some. The HR position. Duties. That's later.
Dennis is.
That's why he left the first time, is he didn't want to do that. And that's why we do it for Griggs County, because he's the VSO over there. Ben. So I had somebody contact me about all the FEMA projects that have been going on. I think Lisa maybe emailed you on it one time.
Sure.
And somebody told me how awesome Steele County is and how awesome this guy is. Like, yeah, and they said they'd like me to do a story about like her particular township had like 36 things that needed to be done, and she said that she's aware that all of Steele County are that.
Yeah.
And that was one township.
Yeah, I think all of them are done, so the townships have anywhere from, I think like 8 was the lowest that I saw to upwards of 40 or 50 sites. We had 40 on our county stuff alone.
Okay.
All, yeah, everything's completed.
Is there anything that we could do to just like make that known, like how awesome this guy is?
Start my,
Yeah,
you can do an interview with them if you really want.
yeah.
No.
So I'm just thinking like a general overview of like what was the scope of this project, like what was the total number of sites in Steele County in all of the different townships?
I will have all of that information by the end of October. We have to.
Okay,
We have to give that to FEMA.
Okay.
And that's not due until the 24th, so anytime after the 24th, I'll have all of that.
okay, after the 24th of October. And I don't know what the easiest way is to shoot you some questions, or you probably know what questions I needed. I have somewhere we can start and then we can do follow up.
Should we get started and then
Yeah.
me and him will work on it.
Okay,
We'll get some stuff.
and then we'll maybe give you a call or stop by your office or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that works.
okay, yeah. People are tooting your horn.
Oh, I'm just shy.
That's pretty amazing. You're a good worker. You guys had a lot going on over here with all the water this,
I can't do it without my team.
yeah,
You know, I have
Yeah.
a really good team right now that you could never do it by myself,
right,
you know,
right, yeah. No. How many are there of you?
7.
Okay,
They had a super winter season too, Joe, where, I mean, just the public was just ecstatic at how the roads would take care of us.
yes. Do you have,
My guys are usually, like, if it's snowing out, I mean, storm is done, we're out by 4:30.
Wow. do you have anybody that you know that would like share that feeling? Like names of people that I could get a comment from?
What do you know, Ben, some of the public accolades for the winter snow removal and stuff, how good they did this year. Remember any of those people?
Catherine Albert, emailed me. That's some stuff on her, about some stuff.
Oh,
You know,
Just checking.
she still works pretty good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. She's
Where's she doing?
she's ad sales, so
Just
she's
said.
a contracted employee. So, I'll maybe ask you like that, you can say that.
Morning, Mike.
Morning.
Lovely morning, all right?
It's morning.
Yeah, it was.
Chili?
The pavement project for this year.
We have to go take some pictures. Yeah, that would be fun.
It was colder this way though than it was.
Somebody would be there.
I'll be sure to look at the one else that I-
And there was it, have you turned your furnace on yet?
I bought way back in anywhere.
You know,
15%.
maybe then it's how it's gonna be.
What is down?
I figured when I, they decided to do something. I know, and then it's gonna all go down.
You're like, hey, yeah.
But the problem is getting stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
Getting it when you want it, yeah.
It's still,
They want it, it's theirs. They start.
punch list that they made, the contract.
Now they're allocating. time.
Okay.
Worst time is a good start.
We'll start the meeting again at 10:03. Manage complaints for later and we'll move on to engineering. Okay. All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So I've got a little map that, way in this morning, but a little map that I'll pass out, makes it just a little easier to talk about the bridges. Well, while you're looking, passing that around. Paving project, of course, is done for launch. I still need to get some signs picked up and they've got some miscellaneous things to take care of and some few snafus that happened and stuff. So kind of just wanted to update you on the what will be close to the final cost on that. Your final cost on that is going to end up being about 2.1 million. So it came in a fair amount, almost $250,000 less than what we originally thought it would when it was bid. Part of that just happened to be that there was a
a lot more oil in that existing pavement, that recycled asphalt pavement, so we didn't need as much virgin oil, and that stuff's terribly expensive. It's amazing, a few tons of that stuff makes a big swing in price. So we usually estimate high on that, just to make sure that we have some contingencies on the project came in under, so. You know, obviously, when the DOT requests your share of that money back, it'll be a little bit less, and it'll impact your federal aid account just a little bit less. So 20% of that 2.1 million is what they'll be asking back for money here eventually. I don't know if they've had any requests for reimbursement yet. Emily, probably not yet. So I don't know if there was any questions, thoughts on the paving project as it gets finalized here. Anything you guys have seen that you have concerns about that we gotta make sure we get addressed?
It was very nice. I drove it and stuff and checked everything out, the guardrails and all that. And I was there the Thursday before they did the painting of the stripes and stuff. But other than that, I was very pleased with the approaches and stuff, the way they did the gravel and all that stuff. It was, they did a nice job.
Good.
Thanks to Tyler too for being the head ramrod and everything else and keeping the people in line and stuff. He does a good job.
Oh, good, we appreciate that. He's probably listening to me, so don't say too much there. He might end up taking it. But no, it's always a interesting task to push those things when we know that contractors this year are behind, so they're
Right.
trying to move fast. So good. Well, the main thing I wanted to discuss today was all of your upcoming bridge projects, because you've got a lot of them. Just wanted to follow up on the program sheet that you got from the DOT last week, and Brandon was there when we talked about this. So you have the bridge east of Hope was scheduled for 2023. That came out of the House Bill 1505 COVID money, is where that particular bridge project came from. I think we'll probably be looking to delay that to 2024, just because there's flexibility in that particular funding where you can move those things around just a little bit. My concern, and everybody's concern, is material availability. These concrete box culvert structures are difficult to get, and just talking to Brian with the email after meetings last week, you know, that's what he's hearing from a lot of counties, is that they're looking to try and not bid their project until later in 2023 with the expectation of it being built in 2024. You look at delivery of the box culverts that they already have in the queue for production for the two suppliers. It's already looking, it's getting pushed out till August. So as we bid more of these projects, that's going to be pushed up further and further. And the main reason I'm thinking that one east of Hope would be a good one to delay, not just because of the flexibility of the funding, but also because of the pavement. We can, these township roads, these gravel roads, to try and put a box culvert in October into early November, is doable, but I don't want to see that pavement replaced in late October. That is something we don't want. So that's why I think we should move that one to 2024. Now, what surprised me on this program sheet is your two bridges that they'd originally scheduled for 2023, they showed on this sheet as 2024. I don't really know why they moved that, but Brian has no issues moving those up to 2023 if we can get them bid and hopefully get them constructed in 2023. With the map that I handed out, as you may have already heard from Reed, the DOT is still working on their low ratings from their bridge inspections from 2 years ago. And on the bottom of this map, those two that are clouded in red are the ones that they notified Reed last week that need to be closed. Looking through the bridge inventory sheets on those, I can understand why they need to be closed. I don't see anything in the reasoning that they want them closed that would make an easy fix for either one of them. But interestingly, one of the ones that they're suggesting to be closed is one of your funded bridges that we'd like to move up to 2023, that one in Broadland Township. So Reed's gonna have to close them. There's not much you can do about that, but you know, at least we know that we're gonna try and make that one fit into the 2023 reconstruction. Part of the way what we're going to look at with that is maybe considering concrete arch pipes instead of concrete box culverts, and see if we can get those on a little faster delivery schedule. So, but we haven't got that far in the process yet. It's just something that we're looking at. So the other one would be the FEMA funded bridge west of Hope. And discussions with Brandon and Ben last week. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get that box culvert bid, just the materials of that box culvert. Because we have a little ways to go now that FEMA's got this approved to get to the rest of the design and the wetland mitigation and and the right of way and some of the other things that we need to do, that we can't be ready to actually bid this full project yet. But with that FEMA funding, we believe that we can bid the box culvert as a separate project. That way the box culvert is secured, and then you have the contract later on for the contractor to install it. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, you should probably have an action on that today to proceed with doing that. No, Ben, if there's anything you want to add to that? No. I just put together a separate set of specifications and get that posted for bid.
So what we're saying is a lot of these concrete box culverts. If we decide to order them now. When will we get them? August next year, maybe before then.
Well, probably September. Hopefully before then, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not September at this point, because it would take you a month to get this bid. Just because you have to go through the legal advertising process for 21 days, and then accept bids and award bids and that whole process, and then they have to do shop drawings, and you aren't in line for your place with those box culverts until they've done it, submitted, and got their shop drawings approved. So by that time that's all taken care of, I suspect it could be September by the time you actually get those, but we'd hope for earlier. Essentially, you've got two main suppliers of box culverts. It's either, I forget, but they've been bought out by national companies, but it used to be Hancock Concrete and Forterra. Were the two main suppliers. There is a new company that operates out of Rapid City and Sioux Falls that maybe will be certified to be able to supply some of these, but we don't know that for sure.
So what are we looking at here, Mike? We need to order box culverts for. All the 2023 projects you got on here, or is that what we're looking at? Or just-
No, the
just the
problem
one
is through the DOT isn't gonna allow it to work that way. But through their process, it has to be bid as one project. Okay. We have to get the rest of the way through their environmental process before we can bid those projects in February, March.
So how many total were there? Again,
So if you just look at the southern part of the county, there's 3 potential box culvert projects. And then one up in Finley Township.
What's the X on the gold one?
That's one of the ones that we applied for, but they chose not to fund, even though 2 years ago, they told us they would fund it.
I thought they did fund that.
They funded it as a B or Z project, which was basically saying we'll probably fund this. But then when it came back to this particular funding, they said no. So to me, that's one you put on the shelf and you apply next go round. So just to finish up that thought, the blue and the brown colored ones in the northeastern part of the county are for 2025 construction.
So to clarify too, what Mike's asking for action on right now is just on the FEMA bridge. The FEMA project that we have, that's West Hope there. That one does not have to follow the DOT guidelines only because it is under FEMA. So FEMA has their own set of rules, DOT has their own set of rules. As long as we're following our bidding out process and doing that stuff that we normally do, then we're all good when it comes to FEMA. FEMA doesn't care. So they're not requiring us to go through the whole DOT, get all the environmental stuff done, all that stuff that we normally have to do on a DOT project. They're not, FEMA doesn't require any of that. So we can, with FEMA, we feel comfortable with splitting it up with doing the box culvert now and then finalizing the whole construction then later.
I'll make a motion that we ask for bids for the 2023 FEMA County Road 5 bridge box culvert only.
That's not for any dirt work at all then, or not?
Just a box culvert.
Just a box. Got a motion on the 2023 FEMA bridge on County Road 5 west of the Hope Golf Course. Need a second on the motion?
I'll second.
You got a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I might have asked this last month, but because it's federal money, can we use that to reimburse us for what we paid on that already? For what you guys have done already? You're at your stuff.
On the FEMA project in particular.
Well, for all the stuff that you guys have done on that bridge already.
No, you have to go through the selection process in advance to be able to do that.
So it's already a done
So
deal.
you
on
went for the bridge east of Hope on County Road 5, you went through that process, you'll get paid 100% of that. But on these other bridges for 2023, no. There's not. The ones for 2025, you need to go through the selection process in order to be able to get those paid for.
And the FEMA bridge that we got approved, that's under a whole separate thing. So the advanced assistance that we did before covered the engineering that Interstate did prior to. And then now again, we have forward that is all.
So then you're saying the one in east of Hope will be in 25
No, I think the one east of Hope will probably end up being a 2024 project.
or 24 then? Okay.
Just simply because that isn't a project that we would like to see built in October, November. So by the time you get that through the process and get it bid in February, just when you get in line with the box culvert production, I would suspect it's going to be an October to November project, and we just don't want to do that on paper. Obviously, the one in Broadland Township, however, we can get that built in 2023 is important because it's going to be closed.
Right, yep.
It's closed now. Now,
Is it? I don't know if it's been on with the sign.
Did you close
Just got
those?
a Notification last
You-
week.
I had to order, they won't be here until Friday.
Yeah, when they provide you the notification, they give you some time to get it done.
So the one in Colgate, where's that actually at, Reed?
That is straight north of, that missile site down there at County Road 1. Straight north of there.
just across the tracks,
Yeah.
about a half mile north or so.
Yeah, comes up to County Road 5.
Yeah.
Or Blacktop 5.
Mile
and a half worth of tents.
Yeah,
Yep, so that's probably the next question. Is what you would like to do with that. Obviously, it has to be closed now until you can do something. I do have some information already on that, just simply because in Carpenter Township, on the channel upstream, we did some hydraulic studies for some of the FEMA sites this spring. So you're looking at probably, we haven't got everything put together on it, but you're probably looking at a double line of 8-foot large pipe through there. Just simply because of the size of the upstream structures. So if you look at your current culvert prices for steel culverts on that, it's about $350 a foot. So you're looking at upwards of 35,000 or more just for the culverts themselves to replace that particular one.
Is it on?
I talked with the township, down there, and they would like, I told them what we've been doing in the past with the county, over a 2-year period, the township would have to pay their half back on the installation of stuff with the 2 culverts. I told them any amount of money yet, because they were just coming up with, how big the culverts and stuff like that. But they would like to be able to reopen it soon as the guy can, because a lot of guys go around there with trap, with combines and diggers and all that going around Hope and stuff. So a lot of people just come out of the east side of Hope and then they drop down and back down onto the highway through there. So, but they're waiting to hear and stuff what the decision is on what we're gonna do with the culvert. If we're gonna put culverts in there and do that, or is there another option?
So what have we done in the past with townships? That way we've. What have we done, Reed?
What we've done in the past and what we're doing with like Beaver Creek, we've purchased the culverts, get the culverts, and then, find somebody or, the township find somebody to put it in, then we pay for that, and then we bill out, from the first initial start, bill out the of their half, then we bill them,
So we pay for half the culverts,
yep,
basically what we've done, pay for half of the
Yeah,
culvert.
but what's gonna happen is we're not gonna be able to do that all the time.
No, I understand that.
yeah.
You know, when we made those agreements right away, we said this is each one of these culverts or bridges that come out is we're gonna talk about every one of them, and it might come to where we aren't gonna be able to do them. So I wouldn't promise any money to anybody until each one of them, we're gonna look on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
Just-
case at a time.
Looking back to what we've done beforehand, so we can. Work back with the township and see, okay. Here's what we've kind of done in the past. Don't know if that's gonna be what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But we can start getting some figures in our heads of what is it gonna actually take? So that's kind of what I'm just trying to.
These new rules are just, they're gonna make it so there can be some bridges closed and roads closed, unfortunately,
Yep.
but we won't be able to afford to keep over.
That's a problem.
Each case will be different,
Yeah.
discussed.
What you guys have done in the past is you've had the townships come to the commission meeting and requested it and gone through that whole process of it, after they get the information, that sort of thing, so. If you're keeping in line with what you've done before, that's how the process has been.
So those ones up in Newburgh there, Mike, that'll be 25 then, the ones in the blue.
One's in the blue, and then that bridge just off of County Road, east of County Road 8, in the brown up there. Yep, those are all for 2025.
All three of those.
So it's the one in the tan there is a bridge replacement with a low water crossing. The two in the blue, one of the bridges to be removed, one bridge is to be replaced. And then this includes relocating a township, potentially relocating a township road around a farmstead. That's what the current plan is, but we have to go through that process of the environmental stuff in order to get there.
The one in the brown, I didn't think you applied for that one.
Yep.
The one by
Yep,
Adam
we did.
West.
So the way that their funding was set up, because they looked at bridge removals and low water crossings and some of those kind of things differently. That was the test balloon, just to see if they would fund something like that and put in a low water crossing. So part of what their push is they want to see these deficient bridges come off the rolls. So when they get their list from federal highway that says you guys have too many deficient bridges, you need to do something, they can start check marking some of these off. So that way they can get rid of that one for a lower cost by not putting in a full-size structure.
That was the one where we were looking at rerouting the road and everything else and stuff.
But they're all 100% funded.
Okay,
So that's really all I had, I guess. If you guys are looking at doing something with that bridge in Colgate, it would be a pretty simple matter to come up with an appropriate culvert size, just because the bridge downstream is the one that we're working on County Road 5 on the paved portion of it. Like I said, we did the hydraulic studies on some of the bridges upstream, so we could
Give a size.
verify that that approximate size I gave you is correct. You guys can proceed from there. Obviously, culverts that size take a little while to produce too. So
what is down there now, Mike?
the existing is a small bridge. Just a small steel timber bridge.
So we could put in a culvert and get by.
Yep.
And like we did out in Oh, Palmer's Country?
Yep, exactly. Yep, this bridge has got, its primary issues are the beam condition themselves. So, but the timber abutments aren't in any prime condition either, so there's really not anything you can do to rehab the bridge and get it back open again.
Okay,
Just lived its useful life, so.
yeah,
So unless there's anything else for me, it's my update for today, and if you want me to proceed with something on Colgate, just let me know.
What are we guessing the age of these bridges are in the 50s? 40s?
They vary, they're all over the place,
Are they?
but I think those were 60s and 70s. Most of them are. Yeah, the ones up in the northeast that we're replacing are probably 100 years old. They were probably 1910s, 20s.
What, you guys are on Bismarck, what's the update on the breakout funding?
Pretty much a for sure thing at this point. The way oil prices are going, the expectation is that money's probably coming next spring. So Ben and I were gonna look at some project costs to figure out how much your share of the FEMA one is and some of those kind of things. And come back to you at your next meeting with some ideas.
maybe we'll have a decision then on the Colgate one, or should we make a decision on that now today for Mike to look into that?
You want me to look into that for your next meeting, you should make that decision today. And then how you're gonna proceed after that, if you're meeting with the township, or if you guys need to look at some costs first, or what your thought is.
It's gonna be a lot of static when it gets shut.
You need to find what size culverts.
Okay, we'll do it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
We got a notification. For the water. For the water resource district, for Nelson County versus Steele County. If we're gonna pursue that. I think. They're wanting to know if we're gonna keep going forward with it.
I thought that was a done deal a long time ago.
Well,
Up to us or through the water?
What's that?
The waters,
it's with the Bismarck office, they're finally getting time to look at it now.
Correct. Steele County filed a complaint against Nelson County with the state water department back 2019. I put copies of that complaint in your packets for you all to refresh, but the state water commission is finally getting around to review this complaint, and before she dug too far into it, she wanted to see if you guys were still interested in pursuing it. So
I mean, it hasn't gotten any worse than the water flow. It's not affecting, it hasn't hurt any of the guys, the townships up in that area or nothing.
So can we have a little history? What was the
I
case here?
suppose Brandon wasn't here then, so.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, what the deal was, I was notified from our townships on the north end of us up here, and I went up and I took pictures. The water, their water board or whatever had approved some culvert cleaning and stuff, and they cleaned out through sloughs. The drain, I mean, wide open, and added culverts. To this area, to the watershed, to our, into Steele County.
To come in,
And
yeah.
That's all the pictures and stuff that I had sent them. And gave you guys and then, and stuff, and what they did, you know. But I see, I mean, it hasn't really, the water comes fast and hard when it comes. And, but it really hasn't taken out any roads or nothing. So, but. It was just,
I know we were really worried when they were doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at first,
I
I
remember that
mean,
right away. They were just, I mean, they did it the wrong way. I think that's why we filed the complaint. 'Cause they-
yeah,
They just went about and just did it on their own and didn't even talk to us about it and
Right.
bring it up to us. And then we asked the water board to look into it too, I think. And
yeah.
I think between both boards, we decided to do the complaint and I guess we haven't had issues since, but maybe we should also consult the water board and see what their thoughts are about
That's what I
this
was thinking too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
before we just drop it.
Yeah. We do.
My thought is that we should continue to pursue this because. You know, they went way beyond what they had suggested or asked the commission to do and. You let this one go and what happens to the next project, the next project, the next project. They didn't. Follow the plans and specifications that they had originally provided to us. Which whether anything happens, I don't know, but. I don't want to have it. Right? So the state gets involved and tells them, look, you didn't. I follow your own specs and plans. You can't keep doing this, at least you get it solved for the future. You with this one more time.
So would we be asking for compensation down the road if something happens?
Well, I don't, possibly, but if we were to say that, you bring up a good point, if something were to happen, we have a major
Liability.
event here this winter and next spring. And we, at this point, say, we're not interested in pursuing any longer, that's going to cause that condition to, it's a very good point. That's probably another reason we should.
And if it's a legal water drain draining into our shed. To where then they should be almost paying for our culverts in our watershed.
You could possibly be a set.
Possibly. you
Well, I
know.
thought there was something, they were
So-
trying to form something up there. I don't remember it, but
It-
we should really talk to have the water board here, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Well,
They would know more about this. Probably than us. But I agree with you, Charlie.
I'm all for it.
If we don't. Next time they may be do something else.
So. Keep this thing teed up. You guys want to have. Somebody contact the state and say, the commission is still interested, but we're gonna run it by our water board and we'll give you 100% compensation of that, just so that it stays teed up and don't get buried in their filing.
Yes, I think so.
I told her we would have a response after the meeting, if she could hold off till then. So,
I mean, there was a complete reason why we made a complaint.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that's good. Move forward with it.
Yeah.
Emily will
we'll
reach
move
out. to
forward
her.
and let her know you're gonna contact the water board and stay in touch with them also.
Right.
For situational awareness, water awareness.
Well, maybe we should see if they can put that on their agenda as well. Some one of us can meet them tomorrow or. Bring it up to them. Time to meet.
Yeah, we should do that. I mean, they're. Essentially responsible for legal drains and. Our legal drain benefiting from it. It's water.
I could go to that meeting quick and bring it up to them, I guess, if you guys wanna.
Okay, sounds good. Okay,
And, I guess, what my guys are up to right now, we're mowing, deep mowing, approaching trees. And stuff, we got done with all the FEMA stuff for the townships, last week. And, finalizing on that stuff. And then, getting ready for. So it's about the 15th or 19th, then we're gonna start with the cattail mower and start mowing townships, You know, on all the sloughs and stuff like we normally do. So. That usually takes about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks to do all that too, so. But the County Road 11 project was very good, I think the engineer firm did a very good job for us out there and stuff. There's still a punch list for them, of cleanup and stuff out there and stuff to come back and do, but otherwise, I think it turned out very well.
Do you get in on any of the state like 200 meetings or anything like that?
No, I've talked, I mean, with different ones,
I mean, the last quarter mile coming into Finland is
Yeah.
like a roller coaster.
what I mean, just what I know is that like the state should hold the money back until that road has got a nice ride. But I've also heard that it's a possibility that they might, you know, it's something to be questioned, I guess. As a, you know, I can call the Grand Forks District Office and find out, you know, like from the, you know, as a city council, you know, or whatever, if they're gonna do that. KLJ is the engineers on that project. I do have the one that was on the project. I have his phone number, which I could call him and,
Well, everything else on it to me is fine.
yeah,
Just that last,
they're,
last from Farmers Oil in is just,
they had a malfunction on their computer board on one of the, and that's made that. Then before they realized it, I mean, they'd already made it, them imperfections, so they're gonna have to take them a planer. And, you know, clean it off.
so they know about it.
Yeah. They did a ride test out there. You see, the state was here and did a ride test, so I mean, they have all that data too. So,
Just curious. Thanks.
yeah. Yeah, part of the district, yeah. So,
I'm also supposed to ask about County Road, what is the one going out here?
18.
18.
18.
Who's in charge of the curb and gutter on that?
that, I thought was the city.
Well, the city thinks it's the county.
It's always the city.
I've heard that before.
We talked a little bit about that. You know, who owns it? Who owns this stretch in town here? You know,
I don't know.
That's been a topic for many, many years.
It's not unique to Steele and. Disney.
Is there issues or what's going on?
Well, there's some curb in front of 2 or 3 of the houses there. It's really bad. That
they're back.
we're looking to replace, but I was just kind of checking to see if that was a cost share thing or a Steele County thing or.
What the city can do, like when we do, or if we do our County Road 18 project. Then they could take and piggyback onto our project. And, if we get the prairie dog money to where we're able to do it. And then if they wanted to do, like their elevator street and, this street in front of it, but. You'll have to figure out if we're, as a county, and we bite the bullet and say. We pay for half? Maybe, or what share cost on County Road 18, We don't restrict this part in town here because. We have to restrict it on the outside of town for the elevator. Maybe I could even get something from the elevator on it. I have no idea, but. Being they use that as a haul road for the elevator.
It's that gray area.
I don't know.
Well, it's gonna get fixed no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see who owns it and who should pay for it.
Who does the snow removal, Reed?
George,
Both of you or not? You guys don't start until the railroad tracks or what?
we started the railroad track, the other side of the railroad track. We've always cleaned this is the city street,
Right, yeah.
It's what?
huh?
What'd you say, what?
City street.
So you should be like, so
We
you
have
should
it
be
on tape.
reimbursing the city for George doing snow removal on your road.
Want to see the plat map?
Our city limits start on the outside of.
I can dig up those documents.
I don't care.
Well, Mike,
Like I said, it's gonna get done. So
Like you must see this all the time. We're seeing it out here in the developments. Larger towns out in the rural area. You gotta see county roads that are within city limits all over the place now. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, a lot of those have access statute. But what we see most often is counties claim the 28 feet in the middle of the road. And say that anything outside of that, is the cities, but not every county does it that way either. We have roads going all the way through Wapton that are on roads. So every time. Everybody comes up with a. That's just the one that I've seen the most on.
No, the new mayor wants, we should have some conversations.
So then you're saying that puts the curb and gutter on the city then? County takes-
Well, that's up to you guys.
No, but I'm saying
Yes.
that ends up becomes a result. Hills Road does it different than that. You have a county road running right through Hills Road, maybe than that. Nobody, there's no set formula for this.
Right, yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no statute, I've researched, there's no statute that directly addresses.
So,
It's just like the two streets. The two streets on both sides of the courthouse here, you know. I can't see, I mean, they're city streets, but we clean them. You know, do you guys always clean them too? The two streets on both sides of
East one?
the street,
No, we never did.
no, and this one over here,
We cleaned that one.
Yeah.
But that was our property, we saw. We never cleaned these.
This one, I believe, is under the county too.
yep, I think they both are, according to George.
We never cleaned them.
geez, no wonder why they're mad at you all the time.
They still made it at work on that.
Yeah, so we clean both of these streets, you know, but, you know. That's the way I always, because that's the way when I started, that's what we did, so, I mean.
well, I know when we did these flashing stop signs, we had such trouble getting that done, taken care of. And now on this 200 project that just got done, when they were doing the handicap access to the sidewalks and stuff. The one, this corner is a Fargo district, the Grand Forks district, and the county. They said the county road is what we couldn't, for the city, authorize anything because it's a county road.
Nobody contacted us. As a county.
Yeah.
One time they tried to get me to paint all the crossings and all of that. And I ain't got time to do that.
Well, I know when I helped George fill the cracks in the city,
Yeah,
I said, what about these two streets here? And he goes, they're the courthouses. And we drove right on by. Well. So,
yeah.
okay, moving on, Reed with the generator, you talked to Tyler
Yes,
on that yet? When
I
he's gonna do
let
that?
him know that, I let him know that it was done and was completed and it bolted down and everything. And he was in our western part of the state, doing something out there. And that's the last I heard from him, so. Good.
Well, maybe we should call him again and
Okay,
see a time frame and
and he
stuff.
knows,
Cause if we gotta fill the generator with fuel and all this and get it tested and everything, you know, we should probably do that before winter here. So
Yeah.
we do need it.
The butler will come out and
Right,
and they,
yeah.
they'll have to bring their exhaust pipe out and stuff too, because they have, that's all capped off on
Oh,
top and
okay.
everything. And stuff, so, but Tyler does know that he has to do it on a weekend and stuff. You know, so don't uproot. or-
Yeah, right, yeah.
So,
Okay,
then I'll get back to you, Russell, and let you
Yeah.
know what he comes up with.
okay, sounds good.
I think that's the,
That's all you got, Reed? Okay,
any other questions?
well, thanks, Reed and Mike.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ben, you got something to talk about or not?
I do, thanks, Sherry. I just got this morning, but our sub-grant agreement for the disaster for the flood. That, as always, needs to be signed by the commission. By Russell. There's no acceptance needed that we're gonna take the grant. If you guys remember how this is, that it's grant funding that comes into play. So we put everything into FEMA. They come back and say, yep, we'll give you money for it. You know, that's part of the presidential declaration, that sort of stuff, but it's all under grant money is what it is. So I can't sign this one. It's gotta be signed by Russell. It's just acceptance that we will move forward with the disaster.
Okay. Also, at Park Board, we brought up the storm shelters.
Yes, so my plan is to reach out to, used to be Forterra, I don't know what the heck they are now. This week and ask them if I haven't heard anything from them, and then when I talked to them, when we first ordered them, they said if you don't hear anything from us. Basically wait until spring is what's gonna happen. The fact that we haven't heard anything from them by now, my assumption is that we won't get anything until spring. But I'll reach out to them and I'll confirm and make sure.
Okay.
But that's still all well within grant guidelines, all that stuff.
So that's what they were wondering about too and stuff.
Yeah, we're still good on when it comes to the grant for that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
That's amazing.
Quick. It's over in 12 minutes, if that. A lot of field work to do, man.
Can you do copies of that,
Sure.
please?
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Moving on here, we got a lot to do here, so. Okay, Charlie, you wanna come back with us with your,
Have a choice.
no?
So I talked with Ms. Clayton, and she is comfortable with having an election observer. She's going to attempt to identify that person within the week or so and let me know, and I informed her that I would let the auditor's office know and the commission. That takes care of that issue.
So then this person doesn't get paid?
Volunteer worker for her campaign.
Okay,
And the appointment of a election inspector. We're probably a little late, but I think we should do it because the statute requires us to appoint an inspector. And probably include a vote on where that inspector gets paid from. My opinion is the inspector probably should get paid somewhat independent of salary. You know, if they're,
What should come from the election?
right.
that's my opinion.
Isn't that where it?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Is there a reason?
That's what we talked about,
Okay.
saying that,
Okay.
Put that in the motion, you mean?
so effectively, she's not working as an auditor. Or assistant auditor that day.
No, she takes an oath of office as the inspector right away in the morning. They all do.
So are we? Gonna have Carly do it? Okay,
I'll make a motion to appoint Carly.
To approve
So
the appointment.
technically you approve the appointment by the auditor of Carly.
Second.
And but she has to get paid from the election.
Well-
Not the county that day.
That's the motion.
We got a motion and a second on the floor. About the inspector. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Thanks, Charlie.
You bet.
I will jump into auditor. Or do you have something else, Charlie?
No,
Oh,
not right now.
Oh.
This chair is comfortable, so.
The what?
Did we want to talk about the HR stuff that he sent out? It's gonna affect your budget, so we're gonna get to budgets any minute. I know there's been a lot of talk about that since the last meeting, but. Or you can do it at budgets, when we get to budgets. All I have for the board are 2 lease lot approvals that were in your packets.
I think it's a better fit just talking about it as part of your budget discussions.
Yeah, let's take care of the other stuff first.
okay. Go to the lease lot transfers. There's 2 of them in there.
Correct. Both have taxes paid, both paid the $500 transfer fee.
Make a motion approved.
second it.
Got a motion and a second on the floor about the lease lot transfers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Also, sign your packets. There's a Steele County Food Pantry. They are having a food pantry drive, doing a score 1 for the food pantry fundraiser. During both the junior high and the varsity games on January 12th. You bring in a non-perishable item, you'll get a free bag of popcorn, and they would like to also have all the businesses by donating $25 to the food pantry stuff, so we got a sheet here and stuff, and I think it was in your packet also.
Correct. Originally Renee gave me that to give to the board. Since then I've asked Jenny if she wanted to come in and speak to you guys regarding it, and she did not wish to. Same thing that I had in your packets was the clerk of court, the court funding grant, and she did not have anything really for that either and didn't need to speak with you. She
Who's that?
stated, Jenny.
I didn't have anything.
Yeah, so you guys are talking about the court facilities grant now?
Yep.
So FYI, maybe some of you know this, but our judge here has been for the last 18 years. Steve Marquardt, he is retiring at the end of the year. When he first ran for judge, I had all sorts of things with him in private practice. And I asked him, I said, we were to, and I ended up introducing him to the vet commission and other people around Steele County. And I asked him, I said, if you get elected, are you willing to commit to being a sitting judge in Steele County? Because it's really helpful to have one judge. Because we have court once a month, and to have involving judges, they just don't know the cases, don't know the people, don't know the process. So he agreed to do that, and that's what's been going on now for the last 18 years. He's retiring now, The presiding judge, Judge John Irby, called me last week and said, here's our plan, and that is to have revolving judges again. And he goes, what do you think about that? And I said, well, my own preference would be no, but you can't really get anybody, as I understand, to commit to Steele County. There's not a set judge in Trail either, but it's way less of a trip. One, it's right interstate, and two is that Trail has always has had a specific chamber area for judges. It's basically the biggest office in the courthouse, believe it or not. On the third floor. The concern I have is with the revolving judges now, and I don't mean revolving in a bad way, I just mean that's what they're gonna do every month. It's gonna be for judge. Unless it just doesn't work, and the presiding judge, Judge Irby, said, please, let me know if you think Steele is having issues. Need to, take another look at this. But that gets me to my point. I don't know if all you guys are familiar with how the judges, quote unquote, chambers here are, but we really don't have chambers. They have to either go through the courthouse or courtroom and then through the door by the jury box to get into that little space there, or they have to come through my office to get there, or they can do both, and they do both at times. I have a concern that some of these judges are not going to like that setup. And so what I'm thinking is we could possibly get the court improvement people here to review what we have set up, and it was for a grant to do some remodeling up there or something to get. It's just not a convenient place, and a lot of these judges will bring their own computer and want to be set up in there, and we really don't need hardly a desk or a decent chair to sit in. So I think that's one area that we can, maybe they'll have some suggestions that we haven't considered or thought of. Or maybe they'll agree.
So how long are they here?
They're
one
usually
day?
here- They're usually here about 3 or 4 hours, depending.
3-4 hours one day.
Yeah.
And we're gonna remodel a whole courthouse. So
So I'm not. Model the whole courthouse. I'm just.
I'm just thinking about it. And I get it. I get it.
I'll give you an example.
There might be safety issues too, you're talking about, aren't you?
Well,
That's possible too, very much so. And I think they would possibly would want to stay longer to work on their stuff, but there just isn't any convenience factor at all.
Right.
And I know this is on record, but some of the judges that will be coming here want specific pens when they're in Trail County compared to the pens that are generally available. So if that gives you an indication that some of them just have more preferences and more desires and more wishes, and I'm just saying it could be an issue that, and if we have potentially a grant or a funding mechanism.
How much is that grant up to?
This is for the fall. I believe they run the grant twice a year. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna get the state to come out and look at all the setup and all of that and get quotes to do that all, which is what you'll need to submit for this grant. I don't know that you'll meet the fall deadline.
We were just notified on Friday that this is what's happening with the court schedule, so.
So maybe it's something to move forward with and maybe submit for the spring deadline.
Yeah, we could,
We've used it before a few
Correct.
times.
Yeah, isn't there some peeling or something?
Yeah, I did mention that I think it's feeling up by the air conditioner. And when
Up on
we
the
had
ceiling?
court admin out, I asked about that, and she wasn't quite sure. That grant would cover that, but
Are you talking up on the ceiling way up top?
yeah, up by the air conditioning unit, that's way up there.
I always thought it was kind of more for safety for the judges.
I think it's
Because we put
that and, like
locks.
modernizing everything.
we remodeled up there and moved the
Yeah, we
banisters and that kind of thing.
put locks in, and was there some Kevlar put in some places?
You know,
and stuff?
behind the judges.
Yeah, on the bench.
And the way it's set up up there now, Brian, as you know, it's that
Yeah,
the quote unquote, I'm thinking that DSO office might have been the chambers at one point. Where it's a little more back and restricted in there, because then the door can be locked between my office and in that area. So, but just bringing it to your attention now, but you know, Emily makes a good point that it's probably, I don't know if it's too late to do it. But we were just notified again that, I guess we knew Margaret was retiring, but not that they were a new revolving judge, and I think we should just try to be.
Who's the judge in charge of it? Of,
The presiding judge right now is Judge John Irby.
so would it be maybe a good idea to have him come out and see what he thinks?
Is he here? How soon is he here?
I just got, I think February is his first month here.
What
I
he,
can double check.
what he would suggest? Maybe, I mean, you could get somebody from Bismarck who,
We have one here then in November, and he would be.
yeah, I mean, somebody who's gonna actually be using it might have more input in it than somebody from Bismarck who's not ever gonna be here.
Well, then that person could be the liaison to the other judges.
Yeah,
We'll
that's what I
talk
mean,
to him
yeah.
about that too. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We'll at least reach out to the court improvement grant people, let them know that that's an issue for us that we're gonna be looking at, and talking to the East Central judges about it, and at least put it on their radar and then see where we're at. After that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. We got a lot of these I voted pens we could.
Let's see if they comply.
Yeah,
It's not the Astrodon ones that they can write upside down or anything, is it?
I'm not, the clerk of court has to deal with that. But I'm not joking.
okay. Next there to move on, state fair delegates, we gotta. Get our state fair delegates into the state fair board, because they got a meeting coming up November 16th or something like that, and they. Want them as soon as possible. They wanted it already, but since our meeting with council twice now, it's. They said that was okay, so. Does anybody want the job?
Previously, Mr. and Mrs. Walker have taken their time to go to that as representatives of the county. It does not need to be a commission. It's members of the public, anyone. So I know the question of, the election coming up in November was brought forth. If appointed, any of the commissioners, if they were appointed, or Russell and Pam Walker appointed again, they could still serve as Steele County delegates for that state board, fair board.
What does that involve?
Not much. Just different activities going on out in the state there and stuff, so,
You gotta go out there.
Yeah.
A couple times.
yep,
You guys willing to do it again?
yeah, we are. For another year here and stuff, see how,
I make a motion, we appoint her. You and your wife again.
Second.
Thank you.
we got a motion on the floor about the state fair delegates. And we got and a second, all those in favor of it, signify by saying aye.
No, hey.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Also, we got approval of bills.
Question on the propane, is there propane down in Hope?
Yeah.
Did we check them
We'll
too?
get it from Galesburg. Or the Hope
I
City,
don't know if Braid's checked that or not.
he was instructed to.
Well, he got 5,000 gallons. My guess is that doesn't go very far.
I thought he had got some from. Well, it's through Hope or Galesburg.
Unless I didn't see it, but. I thought I just saw the town and country one. so.
I'll text him.
Okay. We got a couple of our people that have to leave here at noon, so we're gonna jump into our budgets and stuff now.
One last thing, the minimum sale prices for the back tax properties that was in your packets. Every year, how we normally have done it, that is the back tax amount that is owed, as well as penalties and fees, along with an estimate of what taxes will be for this year that come out in December. And we've normally set that as our minimum sale prices. I then send it to the township and city to see if they have any objections regarding those minimum sale prices. They would attend your November meeting. If they did have an objection to that. And then the tax sale is the third Tuesday in November annually at 10 o'clock in the auditor's office for anyone interested in purchasing those properties. And they are bid from there. We have two properties, one within the city of Findlay and a tract of land up in Westfield Township.
Which one is City of Finland?
That's kind of a goofy one. That is 5 feet on each side of the old Dick Pickard house. When it was sold off to, I believe it was Palmer's, then Funk's, and now
Gardner.
Gardner lives there. There's a strip on each side, on the side of the property there, 5 feet, that wasn't deeded over. It's still in Dick Pickard's name. The both neighbors have been up here. They know it's on the back tax list. I would imagine one of them will show up to the sale. So I would need a motion to approve that.
Yep.
A second,
Yep,
all in favor,
I,
opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay,
You have buildings and grounds?
oh yeah, buildings and grounds, this is brought to my attention by Dina. She's been looking at the foundation around the courthouse, and it is sinking in places, the sidewalk is. The egress windows on the west side are slipping down, they're pulling away from the foundation. And we got some on the south side, we got some on the east side, and we got a little bit on the north side over here too and stuff. So I talked to my brother and to Keith Zentz about it. And they were saying that it'd be best if we got a mud jacker in here to do that work and stuff. I reached out to Dakota Mud Jacking out of Grand Forks. And he needed a bunch of pictures and all that, and I gave him that and the measurements and stuff, so he did come back with another estimate and stuff. But I just wanted to get your guys' permission to move forward. I think we should have 3 bidders. There is a couple other people that I can contact about that, so. Is it something that we wanna move and put on the budgets for buildings and grounds? I don't know how much it's gonna cost. But I think it should be looked at and taken care of and stuff. But the first bid I got, they said they couldn't do nothing with the egress windows over here and stuff. But it sounded like the rest of it, they could do something, but
Because he didn't have the ability or capacity to do it, or that there's nothing that can be done.
nothing could be done. But, and there was a issue brought up also of, could we eliminate those egress windows on the west side?
Back in, it was before my time, before 2010 roughly. I know they eliminated the egress windows on the east side.
because I kept,
Same
it was running into the,
It's running in, and I
Yeah.
think that's where some of our water problem is coming from.
problem.
And a couple
Yep.
weeks ago, Dina called me and they had water in the bottom of the elevator shaft and everything else and stuff. So they got down there, they pumped it out and all that, Ben and Dina did, and then I came up and looked things over too, and we stuck a fan down there. And then within a day, it had all dried up and it hasn't come back, so we don't know where that water comes from either, so. Something to think about and stuff here, so. Okay,
We also had a building permit. from the-
oh. Building permit from Ben and Megan Vig. Residential, expanding garage from 24 feet by 24 feet to 30 feet by 40 feet. So
Everything look good on the building permit?
Yes.
I'll make a motion approved.
Second.
all those in favor of the building permit approved, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Sign both,
No, just the original.
just this one, okay. Here it is, if you guys want to look at this. Okay. Budgets. Are we gonna start from the front and go to the back? I think this is what we should do. Okay. Commissioners. Any pencils down there?
Yep.
Oh, please. Thanks. Were we still, excuse me, looking at 3% wage across for employees and stuff?
I believe so, aren't we?
There was some word I got from our neighboring counties that they were getting 7%. So. But I talked to Emily and she said there is some areas here too that we can cut too, to bring the taxes down and stuff. So just keep in mind. Okay, we'll leave that as it is then. And we'll go to the auditors. Number 2.
and we went 3% on that also, didn't we?
Yep. Okay, we're going on moving Amy to 4 days as tax director.
Well,
And 1 day as HR, or what are we doing on that?
what did you guys talk about again as far as Amy being on HR?
The memo, the email I sent out to you guys. So I proposed that she. I know I haven't been privy to all the discussions, but I know there's been a lot of discussions about how much time she actually spends. As tax director versus how her pay scales is meted out. And discussion has been that she spends. Probably 2/3, if not more of her time actually as the tax director, doing tax director work, but being paid only 1 day a week for that. and 4 days as deputy auditor, right? Is that how it goes? Emily?
Correct.
So. Looking at all this and all the different, I'll say HR issues that come up, payroll's part of HR issues and it does. Almost every month we have some issues that are HR related. Connected to payroll. That. I. Proposed that. In order to get that all under one umbrella. That. Amy be redelegated as 2/3 tax director, 1/3 assistant HR. But since talking with her more about that, and I haven't talked to her since last Thursday now, but it's probably a better breakdown. Given what she actually does right now, a better breakdown, probably like 1/4 or 4/5 tax equalization, 1/5 HR. And what she does now currently in the auditor's office is majority of the payroll activities. She does, this is related to HR. Drug testing, assist with that and Title VI stuff.
Which is paid separately under
Yeah,
the road fund,
$600 or something.
not part of the
Which one?
auditor's office.
So what I
Title VI.
suggested in my email, Richard, bringing up is that we take that part as part of the HR too, and then redelegate her, she wouldn't any longer be necessarily, that position would be under the auditor.
And she was willing to do that.
She didn't give me 100%. She was acceptable to the HR part of it, but she wasn't, she didn't give me the definitive answer on the overall proposal. She hadn't made her mind up yet.
So would you want to go on and talk to her for a little bit? We'll just keep going through this. Maybe she's made up a decision.
Well, I was told that she was not gonna accept this position until after the election.
Great, then keep it the same. Let's
Another option that has been discussed, I discussed with Amy and Russell last week as well, is that same 4 days tax, 1 day HR, and bringing it back. It's very difficult, and I've told Charlie there's still details in the proposal he had that would need to be discussed and worked out, because removing everything from the auditor's office simply is not entirely possible. It goes hand in hand with the financials, it goes with the benefits, it goes, all of it goes hand in hand. So appointing or having Amy be the courthouse, the HR contact for any HR issues, as she is here every day, 5 days a week, would be an option, and then bringing it back to the original and idea of commissioner portfolios. The thought was in discussion is the road department portfolio holder who is in charge of road department, and the courthouse portfolio holder who is in charge of the courthouse would be the 2 commissioners that would be HR portfolio. And if there was an issue that Amy had, she could go to the commission. If it wasn't addressed by the commission or able to be determined by the commission, that they would go to the third party HR firm for guidance on that. No, no offense to you, Charlie. I'm not, don't take that personal. That's something we came up with. It's very difficult when you're only here a couple hours a week.
I'm
To
not
have a
advocating for
grasp.
the position, but I will respond, and then I continuously, on a daily basis, get contacted on HR issues. So whether I'm physically here or not, I hear about them every single day. Deal with them all the time. I don't think that's an issue, but. And again, I'm not advocating for the position, but that HR firm is not a firm that's gonna be, answering questions about whether dress code has been violated or, the relatively minor, but I think are minor issues that come up, almost daily, but for certainly a weekly basis, that they're not deciding to handle stuff. So somebody has to have it.
Well, hopefully with Amy and the commissioners, we can get it solved and we don't have to go to the third party.
Office space could be moved. She could be at the end office for privacy concerns. But then would still handle the payroll input part of it. Auditor's office would still handle benefits and post payroll activities. The personnel files are there and accessible for both parties who would need them. Financials, I mean, it all does tie hand in hand.
I'm not for that. I think the way we're working right now is the direction we need to keep on. So if Amy is gonna wait till after the election, she can sit at her, I think we can stay her at her same positions then. Charlie, next thing is how did you come up with that 18,000 for the HR budget? What was your reasoning behind that?
Oh, basically, amount of time spent based upon, you know, hourly rate and just
What hourly rate did you use?
I used 200 to whatever, similar to the rate that the HR firm was. You know. And basically kind of more about what feels right, because I'm telling you. I spend many hours a month dealing with various HR issues. That's basically my experience.
Well, how much we deal with them, it's insane.
Really, there's never not a time for this.
I think Charlie had in there 18,000. Right?
We did.
Yep.
Do you feel it's gotten better?
I feel like the overall atmosphere in the courthouse has gotten better. But I won't say that the minor HR issues that they're. Maybe that's just everyday occurrences now, but I don't think those have decreased.
Why don't you think that'll work, Brandon?
I think we need to keep moving the direction we are. Keep it out of an outside source, kind of within the courthouse, but not within the courthouse. I think it's just time for a change. Time for something different.
No, you brought up about this HR out of Fargo. We visited with them and
Absolutely,
everything else. and
but
stuff.
they're not gonna take care of the little stuff we deal with.
Well, that's where maybe it's,
So if we wanna spend 30 to 50 grand, I'm all for it. Let's do it then. You wanna do that? We can hire them and take care of the whole thing.
I don't think they're gonna do it for 30 to
But
50,000.
probably more than that. So
but do we have to take every little problem to somebody else?
No.
Can't we work it out in-house with some communication and instead of backstabbing and, you know, slamming them down and everything else and stuff? I just think that the atmosphere here is just terrible.
Yeah, just a reminder for you guys, because things get lost in the shuffle, is that one of your discussions was that as a commission, you didn't want to be dealing with day-to-day HR issues.
Well, I know you don't want it neither, Charlie, and stuff too, so, you know, then we're putting more stuff on your plate too, so,
They didn't say I don't want it, I said I'm not advocating that. I
Well,
have a
yes.
position, But we
that
need
kind
to,
of sounds like you don't want it, but
well,
in my book.
it's not,
Neither has the auditor's office though either.
it's true.
So
Part of the reason I'm a little. The way I may come across that came for is I didn't want to lose what we gained. And I do feel like we gained with respect to the overall environment of the courthouse. And there's been a lot of people who have shared that with me. So we gained that. And I think we also gained some by me, myself on the back, it's my philosophy is that I've attempted to put things back onto the department heads to take care of when they come up. If there's a complaint from one department to another department, I just say, it seems legit, or I need a question, I need to answer, I need action taken, I just said, Reed, you take care of this, or Ben, take care of this, or that kind of thing, because you really do need to get back to, and this has been discussed, to more department head control and less. And say central control, I mean, having to deal with things that department heads just deal with. And doesn't like with that, as issues have arisen.
I think that's good too, but then also as commissioners, I don't like to be asked, people of the county. Ask me questions of things that happened, and I don't even have a clue about some of it. You know, and that's why I like to be informed, maybe it's nothing sometimes, but I like to know what's going on as well with the commission. Just for the fact that I want to know what's going on too.
Courthouse.
Yeah, and
Yeah, oh,
everything,
absolutely.
everything. I want to know everything about this county. This is what I signed up for.
absolutely.
I don't care if it's a stupid nut and bolt fall off a door or something, but I want to know what's going on.
And that should be part of the overall discussion as to what you guys expect to need to know about. And we
I
don't.
mean, whether we speak up and say something, that's different, but I want to know what's going on and. I think things have been going fine the way it's been working here. I'm hoping we can continue progress. There's always going to be problems as we do this and not everybody's gonna like it.
Well, I can give you an example. One thing I know I probably didn't share with you, but after we had a county meeting down the basement, there was a complaint from one department to me that somebody from another department had left a Mountain Dew bottle in the basement when they left. So I forwarded that to the department head of the employee who left the Mountain Dew bottle and said, yeah, that was taken care of. So for about just 10 days, there was a Mountain Dew bottle that was left on the floor in the basement that nobody was gonna pick up because they didn't leave it there. And so if you want, if that's the kind of stuff you want to know about, we can let you know about it, but it's just that those are the kind of things that happen.
Well, I think as the commissioners know that sometimes they probably aren't gonna write. Or email back to. You and let them know. I mean, they aren't gonna bring that up if the commissioners are gonna realize or hear that. I don't think.
Say that again.
I would think if somebody is calling you and the commissioner knows. At the same time about some pop bottle. They're gonna think, well, I'm not gonna bring it up because the commissioner is gonna hear this. I mean, common sense is. Why are they even bringing that up? Throw it away.
I'm aware of the situation because they came to me also. It wasn't just a pop bottle, it was full of chew spit. The employee was chewing
That's not accurate.
during the meeting, and this is a tobacco-free area.
That's not accurate. Stare at me all you want, I mean, it's not accurate.
I went down there with the person complaining and saw it myself. Okay,
Did anybody taste it?
There's a garbage can, I think, about 10 feet of it.
but that was their concern. They didn't want to because of that.
Anyway, that-
Okay, move on. What are we gonna do?
What we're talking about right there.
Yep,
Yep.
don't wanna know. Any other ideas? Well, let's move on. We'll come back to that one and back to the assessor and tax director, move on to treasurer. Leave everything as is. Page 4.
Sorry, is Aurora going here to 2 days a week then? I had that wrote down last, but that's another.
That's what we had. That's up to you guys.
And I wrote done on it. We must have all agreed to it.
I think that was part of Jenny saying.
So does it work for her to do there?
I've just heard what, been here in the commission meeting that she didn't need her as many days as.
Oh, Jenny did.
But what about moving into the treasurers? Just 2 days a week? Is there work for her to do there?
I thought last week was about up that Carrie could use her. Wasn't it last time?
Right, yep.
It's the reason why it worked, because she was, I think any department would take Aurora. To tell you the truth.
We are not going backwards.
Correct.
Great, so that one's done.
Page 5, state's attorney. 3% on that also. Clerk of court, recorder.
So we got Aurora's time, we can change them there and then. I have a court appointed attorney. Should be 2,500. That would, your guys' notes are,
Yep.
and $1,000, that question mark on the miscellaneous for some reason.
That's correct.
500,
On miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Well, then I had Aurora at
Yeah.
22,254.
down to 14,836, I believe.
14,836 is for 2 days a week,
What was the 22,254 then?
3 days a week. She's currently scheduled 3 days a week in the,
Okay, so
course.
she's going down to the, so she'll be at 14,830.
if she does 2 days a week over there, 2 in treasurer and 1 as tobacco coordinator, correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
If I can comment on that clerk of court budget and just give you examples that. We have currently in Steele County, or Trail County. An individual, this is the second one now in 2 years, an individual that needs to go in for a mental health. Evaluation, that's a criminal, either defendant in the case, and. That can come up if they aren't competent to assist in their own defense, or if there is a potential for mental health defense, meaning they're incapacitated in that way of time. If they're indigent, which a lot of people who are appointed indigent council, that comes back to the county to that mental health. Get sent to the state hospital, but there's usually a bill for it to some extent. So that might be why we were gradually building that up. I see that it's went from 250 to 700 now. That'd be different from the court appointed council. Court appointed council is one where we don't see it often, but we saw it this year with that. That deal I'm still trying to deal with. You got a guardian ad litem. So. Unless we have money available in our general fund that we want to be pulling out of, or if you guys want to at least earmark something that is potentially available, and we're seeing more and more mental health issues. As you guys, your own walks of life experiences.
So you want that at 1,000 back there, Charlie?
What's that?
So you want that back up to 1,000?
I'm just giving you food for thought, Russell.
Yeah.
Well-
There's certainly a potential that could get.
$500 or $1,000. I'm sure it's probably gonna come out of general fund.
If we need it, if we need it, we can find it.
Wouldn't carry over. for
Right,
the year.
because it's gone at the end of the year, anyway, so.
500 then?
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do, I just wanted to bring it up.
Sheriff's Department. We got 3. Sent on there, I had 2-way radios was checked and the vehicle for Brad was checked.
Vehicle gets moved to sales tax and all comes out of sales tax.
Right, yep. Yes,
Where's he at on his, do you have a current budget now, as far as gas and oil?
Yep. That
That's not gonna
was
get any cheaper.
sent out in the packet.
he's got it 25.
I guess he's 5,000 up, but let's take a look at that when we get to reads too, just to see where we're at. That's probably all good. The DSM.
Yeah. On the travel, he's got 100% reimbursed.
Yep.
There, and then I had,
Where the inventory thing he's got,
yep,
that's more of a want, he told us.
we got that at
2,000.
2,000, yeah, and then we got security maintenance at 15.
Well, then he did, I wrote on there, he's looking for grant material or grant money in that.
Yep.
So I didn't have anything on there. Could you guys?
15 though.
1,500?
Down at the bottom,
Unders.
No, I got radios on there.
Security system maintenance.
Richard Sheriff for gas, oil and grease is over budget currently.
Yeah,
They are at 20,600 as of today.
it's been really close at 25. Probably not
If
gonna
it
be enough.
stays where it is,
Yeah.
yeah,
bump that up another 5.
Can't go up, can only go down.
Rather
It's
leave
good
it
where it's
then.
at. So
If you can
Didn't-
amend budgets if
Yeah.
he goes over, like we'll end up doing for this year since he's over.
did we have 1,500 on the security system maintenance? Did you have that on yours?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't have that.
On,
And 15 on the
For
radios.
DS,
Oh,
what are you under, the DS?
DS.
I got 1,500
Yes.
wrote down
Okay.
yeah,
And then
and then
1,500
and
for
find a
radio?
grant. It says behind it.
and the remaining from hazard chemical. The remaining
Okay.
that he'll need for that. To come from there.
The DES grants are 100% reversal, 136.5. approved right now?
He was gonna get me new information with what he was approved at. I don't have that.
Well, that one DES grant, so I got 136,500.
Right, that's what we had at the time, but
Yeah.
he's come back and since then with approvals, what he's actually been approved for. And which fall under the 100% reimbursed,
Bridge and stuff, I don't know.
93%
93%,
reimbursed
yeah,
and
right, yeah.
75%.
You'll reach out to them then?
Hi, Dina.
Somebody called
Just,
the bottle that had spit in it, tobacco spit? Yes, it did.
okay. Just to clarify, I wasn't lying.
So
Thanks.
Good, thank you.
Thanks.
So,
You'll reach out to Ben then on that.
Yes,
Okay, that's good then.
yes.
leave corner or leave, I think that was down to 5, what?
Yep, that's what I wrote.
Public health,
I got it at the top, come back to it.
yeah. I got in there, 66, 652. Then on travel, they got that down to 5,000. Telephone was checked.
Yep.
66, 652 or 60, 652?
6652 is what
yeah.
I had down.
Yep,
that what-
6652.
Oh, all right.
60,000.
I had 66.
Yeah.
Okay, 60.
That would be 3%.
Buildings, grounds, courthouse, number 11.
3% for the raise and everything else with up, I think. Right,
What's that, Richard?
3% for the raise and everything else is the same?
Yeah, I had janitorial supplies checked. I was at 8,000, but I don't know why I checked it. I didn't.
It was a paper towel question, probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. Election, that's all good. County Park. Pretty much left it there, right?
Right.
That's all general.
Ways it's the same. Capital project, we left that, didn't we?
We left it at 15,000.
Is that a match for that courthouse improvement grant?
No, this is just for general courthouse improvements.
Okay.
So we could use that on my mud jacking.
Did you get a rough estimate what it would cost?
About $4,200.
That's what miscellaneous. The only one I had changed was Lake Agassiz, I think it changed to 3202.
Yeah, right. That's what I had.
3202, yep.
How many years in a row have they raised that now? 3?
I want to say 3.
Area, so it was all the same, right?
Right.
County agent.
Somebody having written on the bottom at 18 or 28,923. And then I had below that 18,539.
28,923 is wages to come from county agent, and 18,535 would be the benefits portion of that, allowing it to go full time.
Okay,
And then I believe there's one day a week possibly coming out of the weed budget as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we could
that's,
just leave this for now and then
that's what I had to.
decide that stuff later. Right. Special, that was all good, right?
Special is just in and out, correct? There's no levy.
Weed board,
7230 is what I have for 1 day a week
Yep.
wage for her.
we changed the noxious weed control to 35,000.
Yep,
Yep,
DSO office. 10,232 or the 3%, right?
Correct.
There. Our correction facility. So that's the 25,000.
I got a question mark on the bottom of that, down at the bottom.
I think we were concerned that we might run over. But we published it at 25, right?
Correct.
So it is what it is now.
You can lower, just not raise.
Road one. These are all 3% numbers, I think.
Correct.
Okay. Road two. Bridge repair, I have a 55,000.
Yep.
But I have a number 16 for it. I don't know why. Or right behind it. Office supplies, 600 we went to. Building repairs, we went down to 3,000.
Yep,
Safety equipment went to 1,800.
yep,
Repair parts to 50,000. Signs and Telcar went to 15,000. Salt and cement went to 7,000. Asphalt, we had a question mark there, but we didn't change it, I don't think, right?
we did change.
Did not change.
Okay,
Miscellaneous 1,800.
yep,
Okay, and then cell phones, we published at 4940.
We did.
Page drafted. That was 18,000 published, right?
Correct.
Did we do anything for track or logo? We didn't do anything with on.
question mark
We do a
on
logo?
both of them.
I had
didn't we?
zeros because they would get moved.
Rental,
I had them all.
Yeah, they're out. So we maybe we do a logo.
Farm to market. That was at 10.
We did it at 10, right? 5 Mill County Road. If we lowered the gravel, 20 grand.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yep.
on
On the market,
the,
we published 7 mills.
We did do 7.
Correct, because you wanted to increase the 5 mil to 5.
Okay.
Where,
So we published 7 mills instead of 10.
correct. 7 mills was 225,310.
So in the 5 mil, was that get changed to them?
5 mills is 160,935. You can still budget higher. That is for levying for the fund. We had that reserve, but you didn't want to eat it all that low,
All right.
so we levied the 5. So you want to leave your budget for 226
Yep.
and still levy 5?
That's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Job development, did we go to 2.9 mils on that, right?
No, we went with 3.
3%.
3 mills.
3 mills.
or, yeah, 3 mil.
What was that amount again now for 3 mills?
3 mills is 96,561,
96,561?
correct.
And they were before 2.5, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything else stayed the same. Not red,
Yep.
water resource district.
We published 4 mills. 4 mills is 128,748.
They were 2.5 before. No,
They
they
were at 3.
Say that again.
128,748.
So conservation was 1.
1 mil,
1 mil. Historical is
3/4,
0.75.
3/4, yeah.
Ambulance came to 5.14 for the medical level levy of. And that's 90,000 contracted amount. Sales tax had 52,000. That was the estimate for the new sheriff's vehicle. It's a no levy fund,
So we changed that to 52.
correct? We just moved the amount from the sheriff over to. Sales tax. Weight restriction, that is just a salary, 3% for Ben. Document preservation is just a no levy fund. Same thing with hazardous chemicals. 911 coordinator,
3%, right?
3%,
And the tower, I had that down to 1,500.
correct?
Okay. Human resource, here we go. What do we have that budgeted for? Did we put in 18,000?
We put 18,000, we put 19,000. He had 18,000 down for salary and $1,000 from miscellaneous, so that's 19,000.
We published. 19,000.
What did, just a quick question, did we go through always the social security?
We did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
That was way up front.
I had a question mark on the. Move the technology to 50K or. That everything.
I don't know.
No,
We changed anything on that.
we did.
Huh?
We did.
What's the
But
number?
it's not at 50.
Number 14.
That's a waste.
I have down 74,200. Which leaves out, it is all of the. Items on your second page, that top amount, it leaves out those optional. Items on the bottom for projects of the rewiring. The phone system,
We did publish for 74 too.
correct.
Yeah, back to the HR. Yep, so we published 19,000.
Correct.
Okay, let's leave that there. Construction costs, it's, you know. Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. So in our sales tax, what did we have on our sales tax again?
In that fund,
No, just for what we're gonna take out of that, just the Wayne's pickup. There's nothing else coming out of there? Wasn't there a blade?
no, we're doing Blade, I believe it's 23rd.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, me
It'll
second
come next
guessed it,
year.
but yeah.
It'll come next year.
Well, he was looking for that trailer too, wasn't
Well, you would like to, you know.
he? Yeah.
What was Rita for gas oil now?
He is over as well. He's at 99,209.
Budgeted 100 for next year. So is there anything else we need to talk about with our budget or we're pretty well covered with
Yeah.
we're
motion to
committed?
approve.
The things we need to think about though is how we're gonna keep moving forward with our HR stuff. You know, that's another month now. We've gone where, how are we gonna keep going? Are we gonna keep going with what we're doing or we need to figure that out? Getting lagged over now a little bit. We need to figure out how, by the end of the year, we need to figure that out. 'Cause,
So we're gonna go forward with funding that budget.
you know,
Okay,
published there already, so we just need to come up with how we're gonna keep
how we're
going.
going to. So are we
Can't
still,
raise it.
my other question is, are we still gonna pay the auditor's office that we know some of that money is delegated towards the HR stuff? Are we still gonna pay that? Or take that money and put it towards this HR stuff? I mean, that's all a conversation that we have to have.
Yeah, but we need to find out how much the HR position here is getting paid. We need a breakout, so we need to figure that out. Because truthfully now, if she's not doing the HR stuff, we need to take care of that now.
As well as there's duties as the office deputy here too that she is doing that would be left to be taken over. So,
If Amy decides to.
correct. If she was taken out of that.
I think the main part in my mind is to get the HR thing settled down, then we can work. It's gonna take some time yet to get it all completely figured out. But once we kind of do that,
Well, we need to.
the different roles can get figured out. And go from there, and there always is an option too, if we need to bring more. Resources in, we definitely can. Could do that also.
Material for next meeting. Looking for adjournment.
Nope. We need a motion to authorize and instruct the county auditor to extend upon the tax list for the year 2022. All real and utility assessed within the county. We need to approve these budgets,
Do we make any?
Today
changes
is the
or
last day.
amendments or anything?
and you should make a motion on wages.
The budget's like that by
Today.
I'll make a motion for the wages, 3% across the board.
We can still adjust stuff.
So was it exactly 3%? Because I think to the corner was, we raised that more than 3%.
Yeah, we did.
So it's not, that's not accurate.
And there were a few individuals that were,
Are we going to pay them $20 an hour?
I don't think we decided on that. Did we?
no, but that's what I'm saying, part, if you're gonna look at wages, that's in question, I think, still.
My motion stands 3% across the board.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and second on the wages. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I have a
Aye.
question. So once we set these wages, are they what they're gonna be or what? For 2023?
If we're making a motion now and it gets approved, I guess, yeah, it would be.
Yeah. For no change.
It's what they are. Okay. I'm voting no on that.
Got a motion and a second, roll call.
So we are saying that by Brian's motion that the wages will stay for 2022 as is. With the 3%.
Well, that's what that motion would be, right?
Yeah,
3% across the board. For everybody.
For everybody.
Just a 3% raise is what we're talking about.
Cost of living. Right?
That would be the motion, but I know we changed some for the corner.
I'm saying 3% for the coroner too.
straight across the board.
I know we talked about raising it. Talked about raising one of the road guys too.
I don't think we changed that in our,
I just don't see how you raise one and not. It's just gonna open up a can of worms like it always does.
Right.
So then we aren't gonna move the people up to $20 an hour then?
it wasn't, we haven't discussed that yet. We never made a decision on that.
No,
So the current wages we're discussing,
Is,
now I'm talking about. The
Only that we
3%
just-
across the whole
we
board.
just went through this and we went through and we approved everything and we approved to do the 3% or the higher on the corner, but we're not gonna do that. That's the only wage we talked about today that we agreed on, right?
yep,
So we have that published, but we're not changing that. So you're making a motion to go 3% across the board is what he's saying.
so I've got a motion
And you have a second.
and a second.
We need a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Richard,
So what happens if we? So we have to make this motion today?
You just make motions to alter or approve pay throughout the year.
Right, so what do you mean?
So you could potentially go with your 3 and later, if you decide something
Just
more to
aggressive later.
pay, you make a motion like that as you've done in the past. Maybe you want to ask Charlie. But that's how you've done it previously.
The salaries you're stuck to.
This is our published salaries.
Right, that was just what you guys.
Right. So what I'm,
You're not stuck.
before I vote on this, I want to, so your vote or your motion, that's for 23.
Straight across the board, you
Yeah.
said.
3%.
And if we want to come back then later on before the new year and want to change salaries and so, we're still able to do that, correct?
You can change it through the whole year if you want. If you want to look at it in February.
No, you wouldn't be able to change. Elected officials. Those are, the statute says that you cannot.
Yeah, that's
So I
right.
shouldn't say change, you can't decrease elected official salaries.
Right.
Okay. So as long as we can come back and change, I'll vote.
So is what you're getting at.
What does this motion really do then?
Do you want to change the auditor salary to 24,000? Pending the outcome of the election. And you could increase it at a later point.
I never thought of that, I guess. That was what I was getting at.
I think that's
Well, no,
the
that,
question.
that
I'm
is a
just
question,
saying it.
though.
Yeah,
That, because that goes back to where I said, you can't start the person out at what she's getting.
We have to have a budget salary for today. To have it
correct.
published.
Oh, but who's,
3%.
you know what I'm saying? What happens? Worst case scenario.
So if
Me,
now
I
we have a
say-
vote here now and say if it gets, say if we fail it. What's our next option then?
We gotta come up with something before we leave. It's gotta be in there so we can be published today. Today's our final day.
Yep,
I'm okay with the 3%.
Yep.
Across the board. I think that is a great. We're gonna do it. That's what we need to stick with. But I also want the option to adjust things, up until with elected officials, or if we wanna drop that down to 24,000 or whatever we're planning on doing. We can do that up until when, the 1st? Or what?
You can't drop it.
Well.
You can always drop it, can't you? You just can't raise it.
Yeah, right.
can't,
No, you can't.
No.
You can't decrease.
You
You're
you
setting.
can raise it. you
During
can't.
that elected term, okay, so. That'd be true for the sheriff and for the treasurer as well. You can't reduce it during the term of that elected official. So the term for sheriff and treasurer is January 1, I believe, starts, and then the term for auditor is April 1 of next year. So so technically, so you're raising the auditor, if you go 3%, you're raising the auditor's salary during her term, which you can do. But once the new term starts, that can't be decreased. Once someone takes their office, you can't decrease the amount.
so a new person with no training or anything is being an auditor would start out at her same price. Is this what you're saying?
Whatever you guys. That pretty, so if it's someone other than that is elected.
Yeah.
That person's term does not start until April 1. So you can't change it after April 1.
So we could start at 24,000.
Started at forward right now to 50,000, and if Emily got reelected, you could raise it back up to where she was. So you can, right now, it's not gonna affect. It'll affect the first of the year. Well, I guess I'm not positive on that. The auditor's new salary start at the beginning of the year as the county's fiscal year, or does it start for you?
Beginning of the year.
Anniversary date.
No, it's January 1.
Okay, so. Now. If you were to decrease the auditor salary today, then as of January 1. Emily's salary would be decreased. Right? You understand what I'm saying? So if you're gonna say 24,000 a day, her salary is gonna decrease come January 1 to $24,000. Cause that's the budgeted amount for 2023.
Okay.
If you're gonna do it now. You can decrease it to 50 grand and it starts January 1. You could, and then unless you change that prior to
You could make motions.
April
at those
1, you
meetings.
can't decrease that. after April 1.
You know what?
You could make motions at those meetings to up those wages for that month and duties.
See, that's what we did to you. Back then. Is that we did. You got 2 bumps within. So long.
So for your, I'll vote yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Brandon,
I'll vote yes, too.
Brian,
Yes.
motion carried.
Sorry for dragging that on, but I wanted,
Well, it's good. I gotta understand it. That's the.
You have to vote.
you don't have to technically vote, because it's not a tiebreaker, but you can vote, he can vote though, right?
Yep.
Now we need a motion to
So
extend the
moved.
tax,
But what?
to extend the taxes on the tax list.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Motion carried.
Bill,
Approval of bills.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approval of the bills, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
adjourn.
The meeting is
Make a motion. to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Motion and second. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting,
I.
opposed, same sign, motion carried. Meeting is adjourned at 12:10. Thanks, Norman. Thanks, Gil.